Hello and welcome, everybody, one more time to another episode here on the Sitrep podcast. Today I am joined by my friend Damon over there in the UK. Damon, hello, and how are you doing?
Brilliant, matey. Thanks very much. I'm all right. To you?
Not too bad, I can't complain. Well, I can, and we'll get to that later, but for now, let's just go ahead and kick off our stream and a nice day of light gaming, of a nice, light, and carefree topic that totally is not all over the news right now and totally exists in the realm of fantasy and could never ever happen. Except not really. So today we're going to take a look at potential conflict in the Ukraine. This is obviously something that's very much in the news in the last couple of weeks. Between buildup of escalation of tensions and ceasefire incidents of the ceasefire being broken, the Minsk ceasefire being broken all over the place in the East Ukraine, Russian redeployments of their ground forces along the border with the Ukraine, the Nord 2 pipeline, the collapse of that bridge in the Sea of Azov, and everything else. There's a lot going on here, folks, as I'm sure people who follow this stuff, and here on the Sitrep podcast, we definitely do follow this stuff. As far as, there's definitely a lot going on. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some potential scenarios. Hopefully not. God knows we don't need this happening in real life. On the gaming table is one thing. In real life, we do not need this, kicking off on this level. But just in case it does, these are the kind of scenarios we might see. I don't really believe it, but could happen if the Russians decide, you know what, we're tired of what's going on in the East Ukraine. We're tired of this half-ass, hybrid war, proxy war. We're going to go in there, Bagration style, and we're just going to go ahead and settle it once and for all. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I know a lot of people are worried and a lot of people are anxious, and we can go into analysis and predictions later. But for the moment, I don't think anything's going to change. And that's both good news and bad news. But just in case it does, these are the kinds of scenarios that we might possibly see. So, again, I don't want the preamble on this video to go too long. We'll get to the analysis and the predictions a little bit later in the stream. I do want to get to the game here as quickly as I can. Oh, thank you, James Cuts. I appreciate it. Belarus has 3 NATO states on its border. I know about Poland, but I'm trying to picture that map. I don't have a map like right in front of me. I didn't know if they also had a border with Lithuania and Latvia. I know Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are obviously NATO states. I just wasn't 100% on the geography up there where the borders actually lie. So thank you very much for that. I guess I could look it up on my phone super fast. It is, okay, so Piotr adds, not known widely, fact, Belarus and Russia were in the process of a state merge. Oh, really? So Belarus was going to rejoin Russia. And Lukashenko is trying to stall the process despite the fact that he has signed it while his ass is on fire, right? Yeah, Putin can do that. Again, I'm going to go into the analysis a little bit later. And predictions. The short version of it is super fast. I don't think anything is going to significantly change. I think things are going to escalate and heat up more between Russian-supported separatists. Let me be very clear about that. Russian-supported separatists and Ukrainian armed forces in these two oblasts. Outside of that, I don't think things are going to radically change. I think Putin has his hand on all the levers, and an outright full-scale war in the eastern Ukraine is not in his best interests. He's not going to prevent a war out of the goodness of his heart. I don't think he has any goodness in his heart. I don't think he even has a heart. But it's not in the chess game that E.S. Taylor was talking about before. Which is not only the Ukraine, it's also Transnistria. I always get that pronunciation wrong. Crimea. We're also talking about Georgia. We're talking about Ossetia. We're talking about all these other areas. He has a lot of pots on the stove. And his best interest is, in summary, to keep those pots at a low boil. He wants his hand on all the dials so he can turn up and turn down the heat at his convenience. The main reason he's doing that is to keep these nations out of NATO. So if you look at a map of Europe, 1985, where is the blue-red line? Where is that line between blue and red in 1985? It goes obviously right through the middle of Germany. Where is NATO's front line now? It's further to the east by several hundred kilometers, despite several agreements that have been blatantly violated by NATO and by the United States. Not to put too fine a point on it. Russia is basically seeing that blue wall march closer and closer to Moscow all the time. And when Poroshenko was ousted, when Yanukovych was ousted and Poroshenko came in, one of the first things he did, in fact, one of the main reasons Yanukovych was ousted was he rejected the EU participation agreements that were ongoing. EU is basically, or joining the EU is almost like a preamble for joining NATO. And that's when a big slice of eastern Ukraine said, no, I don't think so. And the Russian GRU, and by extension the Putin regime, definitely took advantage of that. And their main interest is to keep this thing going as long as they can. They don't want to lose. They don't want to win. So the second worst thing that could happen for Putin is for the separatists to suffer a complete and decisive defeat. The only thing worse for Putin than a complete and decisive separatist defeat, the only thing worse than that would be a complete and decisive separatist victory. If the separatists totally won this war, and those two oblasts fell off of Ukraine entirely, and either set up themselves up as semi-autonomous republics, or they straight out rejoined Russia, that would be a disaster for Putin. Because that would do two things. That would unite Kiev and most of the West firmly against the Russians, as if they aren't already. That would definitely solidify that. More importantly, that would close out Ukraine's territorial disputes. I mean, they would have lost, but there's no more territorial dispute. That's a Charter 5 in the NATO Charter. That's an Article 5 issue that once that gets cleared, they're now eligible to join NATO. As long as your nation has a territorial problem, an ongoing armed territorial conflict, your nation is not really eligible to join NATO. Article 5 kind of protects your nation, but you can't have any ongoing territorial conflicts or wars. We will not inherit and fight your war for you. You have to get your house in order and check into NATO with a clean bill of health. And a complete separatist victory in Donetsk and Luhansk, while that would lose Donetsk and Luhansk to the Ukraine, obviously, it would also give them that clean bill of health. And a big ass beef and lots of friends in NATO, because lots of people are a little pissed off about what's obviously going on in East Ukraine, with good reason. So that's why I left that other map in there. As far as Putin is playing the same game here in Moldova, he's playing the same game in Ossetia, in Georgia, in Azerbaijan. He's doing the same kind of stuff all over his southwestern border there. He just wants these wars ongoing. He doesn't want to win. He doesn't want to lose. They have to just keep going. And as long as they keep going, these nations cannot join NATO. Or at least it's infinitesimally unlikely that they can join NATO. And that's honestly, what he's doing. Operationally and tactically, he's being very aggressive. Strategically, he's playing defense. He's just trying to hold that blue wall back. And I'm not trying to defend him. I'm not trying to defend Putin. I'm not trying to defend what the Russians are doing. What they're doing here in Luhansk and Donetsk is very Sudetenland, 1938, which is obviously not defending them by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah. Anyway, I've probably said too much. This chat's going way too long. I'm just trying to explain his objectives as best as I can tell. Putin and I do not exchange phone calls. I'm not getting dark web emails from Edward Snowden. I don't really know what's going on more than anybody else. I just pay attention to this stuff more than most people do, and I try to track these kind of things through more neutral sources. I don't listen to anything out of the United States. I don't listen to anything out of the Ukraine. unless it is balanced also with something from Moscow or St. Petersburg. I want to maintain a neutral look at this. Hopefully that looks better. I'm going to go ahead and refresh the chat. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, I super apologize. There are my sources. I've been crowing and clucking and bleating about my sources all this time, and I wasn't even showing them properly. Okay, sorry, guys. Those are my sources. So, again, if you have something negative to say about our chat, and it's about our technical issues, it's about our production value, it's about the sound of my voice, it's about what kind of mood you're in today, that's fine. I mean, that's just usual YouTube. If you got something to say about our actual data analysis and our research, quote a source. Or, again, we're going to go ahead and delete the post. I'm not putting up with another week of shit posting. If you want to have a conversation, do it like a grown-up and bring a source. Those are my sources. Let's see yours. Pay me the same courtesy. And we will have a discussion, and it'll be great, because I will thank you if you actually teach me something. Seriously. Holy crap, that was way too long. Many apologies. Damon, are you still with us, or have you dropped off the chat?
No, I've enjoyed myself watching you.
Sorry, talking myself in circles. Okay, let me get a drink here, and we'll get going on the game. The game is already in progress, thankfully. Yeah. Piotr says, long story short. James Cutt says the sources look good now. Again, sorry about that, guys. You know what I'll do? I'll also post them in the description of this video. Alrighty, cool. So, the Ukrainians, like I said, set up first. And then the Russians came on from the north. I'm going to go ahead and skip the orders of battle because this stream's already gone on too long. Okay. And I came down from the north, and again, I'm trying to take at least 3 out of 5 of these objectives here to the south. Those are the roads that lead into Advika. And Damon's trying to stop me. So I was coming down this road on my happy little cheerful march of conquest with my lead company of T-90 battle tanks, and supported by some Hinds and so on. He had his Hinds at low altitude, so they're kind of hugging the bottom of the hex there. They're at low altitude, so they're behind the tree line. I couldn't see them, and they were coming down the road. My tanks were coming down the road. I stopped the tanks here. There's a lot more movement available to these tanks, but 2 things happened. Number 1, those Hinds are going to take opportunity fire. And people who play Panzer Leader, especially Ben if he's still in the chat, are going to be like, no, Jim, no, we're risking. That's not how opportunity fire works. These tanks only became available, or only became visible, as they moved from 1607 to 1707. How do these Hinds already see me? Per Panzer Leader rules, you have to spend at least 1/4 of your movement rate in continuous enemy line of sight, line of fire, or line of sight, I should say, continuous line of sight, to be eligible to draw opportunity fire. I've spent 1/2 of 14 movement points. How did that happen? Because he was watching me the entire time with these new units. How modern war is this? High altitude drones. So one new thing that the Ukrainian armed forces have gotten recently is some shipments of drones from both the United States and especially from Turkey. So these drones are not Predator drones. They do not carry any kind of Hellfires or anything. However, they do see, and they're at high altitude, hence they're at the top of the hex. So the high altitude rules are pretty much everything on the table is visible to you. So these guys, these drones, were watching my tanks as soon as I entered here on 1201. Hex number 1201. So that's double movement rate on roads. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this hex, my column of T-90 battle tanks are now eligible to draw opportunity fire via these drones. So these drones saw what was going on. They called the headquarters unit, or basically the headquarters unit of the Ukrainian force. There's a CP unit in the Ukrainian force. They're basically operating those drones. So the Ukrainian headquarters is watching this whole thing happen via the drones. And of course, it's getting uploaded to headquarters, downloaded from headquarters to the Hinds. So these hinds were lurking behind the tree line, and they were watching on their closed circuit surveillance, piped to their cockpits from the drones via the command post. And as soon as these tanks emerge from the tree line, they're going to start taking missile, cannon, God knows what else, fire from those helicopters. Okay, so we are halfway through, actually a little bit more than halfway through. We are partially through the Russian movement phase. Pretty much all Russian units are finished moving, except for these three platoons of T-90 battle tanks. They are being interrupted by opportunity fire from these hinds. So, Mr. Damon, at your convenience. Damon, are you still with us? Oh no, did we lose
Damon? Sorry, I
Damon?
muted my mic and forgot to unmute.
Oh, no worries.
I'm here.
Cool. Say, poor Damon's been very patient. He's waited for me to bloviate for like an hour. Now when it's finally his turn to blow something up, he's not here.
Right. Minimum range is 2, isn't it? For the,
okay, yeah, minimum range. The minimum range is 2, so they cannot fire adjacent. So at 2 you're able to fire.
Okay, so each aircraft will engage 1 platoon of tanks.
Okay, I'm assuming you're doing this with your AT-6s? The 50-point missile strikes? Okay, cool. Awesome.
Yep.
Ooh. Okay.
So, a 2 and a 4.
Alrighty. I know that technically, you know what? I'm going to cheat right here. Those are 45-point missile strikes. Okay, never mind. Did you want to double up at all? Because those T-90s have a defense of, I think it was 26. Yeah, 26, and with that star on their defense factor, they get to add 1 to your die roll for composite and reactive armor versus heat warheads. So you're basically shooting 45 versus 26. You're shooting at 1-on-1, which means you need a 1 to kill, and you have to add 1 to the die roll, so you need a 2 to kill. So that 2 would kill 1, and the other one's going to be dispersed. You just want to go ahead and stick with that?
Yeah, I'll leave it to that for now. Otherwise it'd be a bit cheesy to.
Yeah, I don't want to be like cheesy against myself, but at the same time, I mean these are all new units. People are kind of unfamiliar with them. Ooh, I almost grabbed a Ukrainian Rick counter. I did not mean that. So I know we're not exactly doing this legal right now, guys, but again, our system is a little messed up at the moment. Not our system, but again, these are brand new units, and I don't want the game to go completely one-sided. Okay, so both of those guys have now used up their one and only AT-6 spiral missile strike. Cool.
The BMP on the objective will use his spandrel.
Okay, let's see if he's got... Ooh, he probably does. Line of sight. He does not have line of sight at the moment. Unless you wait for the T-90s to kind of roll down the road a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're going to do? All right.
Oh, yeah, ignore me. Yeah, I thought there was a BMP in the... it's not. It's a BTR, isn't it? It hasn't got a missile.
Where are we talking about?
On the main crossroads, the center.
I thought you were talking about the other objective down here with where your javelins are. Sorry.
No, it's a
No, that's a BTR-80 that has
platoon, isn't it?
Yeah, a BTR-80 that has no it has a gun, but it doesn't have any missiles.
Yeah, they've just got close range anti-tank, haven't they? The infantry unit. I'll just wait for them to arrive. Yep, no, ignore me. I was getting my units muddled up.
Actually, hold on. I think we still got those T-80s, those T-90s wrong. So 45 and 45, if we put them on 1, that would be 90. 45 versus 26, that is 1-to-1. Add 1 to the die roll. That 2 becomes a 3. Nothing's killed. Do you want to double them up and just say that you killed one platoon of T-90s? Or do you want to
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Is it a bit cheesy? I don't know.
No, it's not cheesy because, again, I made these counters up just yesterday. They're brand new to both you and me. And, yeah, we're here just to have some... yeah, those gunners would definitely say, hey, let's double up on them. So that's going to be 2 45s is 90 divided by 26. That is going to be 3 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll. Now that 2 does kill a tank platoon. Now the board is actually legal. Also, my hinds are probably going to take a poke during the rest of my phase. Are probably going to take a poke and hopefully shoot down at least one of those hinds. I want you to get, your money's worth out of them at least a little bit. Okay, so any other opportunity fire, or can I finish my movement with my
in
T-90s?
the woods on the east?
Oh yeah, for sure. So there's a light anti-tank section in there and an empty BTR-80 platoon. And my second tier tanks are coming down the road. So again, guys in the chat, the Russians are hella overpowered in this scenario. They're also on attack. Burden of victory is on the Russians. All the Ukrainians have to do is hold on to as many of those objective hexes as they can. Because for the first turn or two, this game is going to seem pretty unfair toward the Ukrainians. Okay, so 12, you're a point-blank range. That's an A-class weapon. That doubles to 24. If we add the 8 to it as well, I'm assuming?
Yep.
That 8 is also an A-class weapon. It's going to double, so we're looking at a grand total of 12 plus 8 is 20, doubles to 40. 2 to 1 odds against, I guess it depends on how many you want to engage. You've got an effective total of 40 points in there. 12 plus 8 times 2 is 20 times 2, 40. So you can engage 2 at 2 to 1 or 1 at 1 to 1. The only thing to worry about is do you have to add 1 to your die roll for woods?
I'll just engage 1.
Okay, 2 to 1, add 1 to the die roll.
On the line. A 2.
2 becomes a 3. That is just barely enough for him to survive. Although dispersed, i.e. pinned down. Oh wow, we got more people in the chat. Off topic, does a tutorial, do a tutorial on how to make those gorgeous maps. Thank you very much, Jose. It's just Photoshop. I've done Photoshop streams in the past. It's just that my Photoshop license is on a much older computer, and when I try to run Photoshop and Twitch at the same time, my computer starts to smoke, and the gerbils get the hamsters get very, very tired on the wheels, if that makes any sense. But yes, it's honestly just Photoshop. Okay, any other opportunity fire?
I think there's nothing else. It's got line of sight.
Let me zoom out for just do a quick double check. Now I can keep kind of cruising down this road, and if you wanted to take a poke with these javelins, you could. Once I clear that southern... In other words, okay, guys, one of the things that we are sort of i.e. predicting, not only has the UAF gotten drones, but the U.S. military has been providing the UAF with some javelins for use against Russian and or separatist tanks. So, again, he doesn't have to wait until... So his line of sight begins there. Oops, I said I got the wrong hex. Sorry, everybody. Give me a second. Sorry. So his line of sight begins there. Now normally he has to wait until I spend a quarter of my movement rate in that unit's line of sight. However, because his drones have been watching me the whole time, his drones pipe that telemetry down to headquarters, and then headquarters re-uploads it to all their units. So those javelin guys know what's up. And as soon as I enter that hex, he can fire if he wants. He doesn't have to. He does give away his position, however. Is one reason he may not want to do that. But it's up to him. Because yes, my surviving T-90 platoons are still moving.
I will fire.
Okay. That's going to be 2 to 1, no roads. I'm sorry, 2 to 1, no woods. I meant to say. That is another dispersed platoon. Okay, guys, for anyone in the chat who may not be familiar, this is how you do it. Super fast, I'm just going to go through this once. You take your total attack, you divide it by the total defense, you round in favor of the defender, you arrive at a ratio. Then you roll a d6 as low as you can. The lower the roll, the better. So he was on the 2-to-1. And that is going to be a 4. It stays as a 4, so that is a special dispersal, which is basically the unit is pinned down. And cannot move again or fire until he makes some sort of a rally check. Okay, so he's now pinned down. Meanwhile, opportunity fire. Just so we keep track of it later. Opportunity fire. And opportunity fire. Opportunity fire, guys, is when you take your fire early. You shoot during the enemy's movement phase. The only trade-off is when it comes to your turn, you can't fire because you fired early. You're basically borrowing against your next fire phase.
What's the range on a BMP shooting its autocannon?
Which, actually, you must find a BMP. You have all BMP 1s. That's that old busted 76mm.
Oh, they've been ones. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you have BMP 1s. Whoa. I take that back. You don't. You have BMP 2s. Range of 10. Sorry.
Okay, yep. So that
BTRs
unit,
also
can
have a
they
range
see
of 10.
your hinds?
This unit cannot. This unit can. So line of sight tool. He is going to be clipped by this town hex here. So him, no.
Oh yeah.
However, this guy, yes.
Okay, we'll have a pop at them with the autocannon.
Okay. Now here is something I've been 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the infantry are definitely out of range, but the autocannon definitely yes. 8, you're within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me check my weapons effectiveness chart. Cool. That's autocannon with the star, so these rules don't really apply. Yeah, it's not much, but it might be enough for a dispersal. 8 is what you've got. Nothing adds, nothing subtracts. Yeah, 8 versus my 18, so it's 1 to 3 odds.
Roll low. It's worth a shot.
Roll low.
2.
2, I think that might have done it. 2 on 1 to 3. Oh my god, I screwed. Oh my god, hold on, guys. Major mistake. Major mistake. This is embarrassing. Yes, you did disperse them. I didn't draw the map correctly. It is 1 down, and then it goes from there. Oh my god. Super apologize, guys. I made a pretty stupid mistake here. Yeah, so the 2 on the 1 to 3 odds, yeah, you dispersed them. Is the good news. The bad news is I don't know how to make a chart. Massive screw up on my part. Do apologize for this, guys. I gotta fix this. This won't take much longer. It's just really embarrassing when the chart is not actually correct. any problems on today's stream. Now, this is the kind of thing you can go ahead and comment about without a source. Because this is a legit screw-up on my part. Oh my god. That was dumb. But it's fixed now. Good news is, I think Damon just saved his hinds. Yeah, one of the interesting things about this potential war is how much both sides are using the same equipment. So a lot of BMP-2s on both sides. The Ukrainian military, so far as I can tell, doesn't really have any BMP-3s, at least not in appreciable numbers. In operational status, there's a big thing you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with the Ukrainian armed forces in this conflict. What do they have versus what is actually operational? A lot of stuff is in mothballs, or it's not been maintained, or it's falling apart, or there are a lot of problems. Like there are problems with my stupid charts. Ukrainian military is like my charts. I have them, they just don't work. Okay, so sorry about that. Alright, so he rolled a 2 unmodified on the 1 to 3 table. That is barely what he needed to score a dispersal. So well done that. Cool, that is one hind that is bugging out, or they may be the birds might be slightly damaged. The co-pilot has his can of fire extinguisher out. He's trying to put out a fire in the cockpit. The effect at the end of the day is that hind is not moving or shooting any further this turn. Okay, and that is more opportunity fire from Ukrainians. Boy, one more thing go wrong. I'll check Mr. Chat. All right. So Ben Johnson says, "Oh wow, drones and Panzer Leader. It beats an L5. Yeah, the L5 spotter plane. Yeah, because that drone has more communication and also thermal and laser rangefinders and thermal imagery. So yeah, you can actually roll. What's the word here? You can actually roll to spot units in cover with those drones. Okay, any other opportunity fire?
I think that's everything for now.
Okay, the Russians will go ahead and finish their turn.
Oh, the separatists.
Oh yeah. So yeah, thank you. We do have some separatists on the table. So separatists are not nearly as strong or as well equipped as the Russian regular forces. They do have some definite, firepower supplied, mostly from Moscow, also captured from Ukrainian army units that were not quite as dedicated as they are now. There has been a lot of improvement in the UAF. I think they still got a little ways to go, and some NATO allies, especially the Americans, are trying to help with that. I think the British are involved too. I'm not 100% sure on that. I've read something where I know Americans definitely have some Rangers in Kiev that are trying to, run these, training schools or whatever. I'm pretty sure the British are in there as well. That's what the Russians get for not letting us into the Minsk II framework. We'll just help your enemies. Okay, so these guys did a march. I actually used the road movement rate, so it turns out I will not be able to cat attack. I forgot about that rule. But I do have line of sight on your command post. So now is the time to use opportunity fire, for sure. You've got some dismounted mechanized infantry. And the BTR-80s that the headquarters were in. Also, the headquarters can fire. The colonel picks up his little AKSU carbine and does some work.
Yep, everybody will pull up and lay into the damn rebels.
Damn rebels, cool. Now, we have a grand total of 18 points there. That A class does not divide versus soft targets because it has that little star next to it. It's an A special. Dual purpose guns, basically. A lot of chain guns and automatic cannon get that. So, okay, we got 18 points versus who do you want to engage here? One thing to bear in mind, I am in concrete buildings. So I get to add 5 to my defense. And 1
I'll
to the
just
die roll.
engage the biggest unit.
I have
one counter.
2 platoons of separatist rebels, 1 platoon of separatist militia. So basically, you're attacking either a combined. You're attacking either a defense of 5 or a defense of 9. Remember, you have 18 total points. 8 plus 8 plus 2. So there is a difference. 5 plus 5, because my concrete buildings is 10. That's 1 to 1. 5 plus 4 is a 9. So it's either a 1 to 1 or a 2 to 1.
I'll go for the 2 to 1.
All right, 2 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll. Oh,
6.
Looks like a 6. All right, so a 6 becomes a 7. I don't think that's anything.
No.
Now, here's the bad news for me. I forgot that I did use the road movement rate to get that close. You're not allowed to use the road movement rate and close assault in the same turn. Basically, you're still in some kind of column formation. Go ahead.
The BMP can't see them, but you can see the other unit in the.
Yep. 1, 2,
BMP
3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, he saw that. Yeah, he can totally gauge somebody. And these guys are in wooden buildings, so they do not get the +5 to their defense. They still add 1 to the die roll, but they don't get the +5 to defense. So you
They'll
have
give them some DACA.
30mm autocannon at range, 8 points. You can engage pretty much anybody at 2 to 1. So do you go for the strongest unit?
Yep.
2 to 1, add 1 to the die roll. 8 versus 4.
That's
A
better.
1 becomes a 2 on the 2 to 1 table. Hey, Vostok, go back to Chechnya. Boom, that's it for them. First blood, first counter knocked. Oh, actually, that's not true. You also killed a T-90 platoon earlier. How come you blowing up all my units, man? I don't even get to play my own game. What the hell? Damon, you're so mean to me. Alright.
Russian, supposed to be.
Alright. Okay. So, I'm pretty sure that's going to be it for Mr. Oh, for anyone who's asking, I mean, nobody is so far, but for people in the future, any Panzer Leader fans, how could he take that shot at me even though I was in a covered hex? While you're moving, you're eligible for opportunity fire. That's why he took the fire now, and he didn't wait till his movement phase. If he waits till his movement phase, I'm no longer moving. Now that unit becomes unspotted. So that's why he did that. We are staying legal as best as we can. Using a weird mishmash of Panzer Leader, Arab Israeli Wars, and TCME rules, but we're staying legal. Let's see here. James Cutt says, I think I remember reading something about British supporting the Ukrainians. Yeah, I'm just going to say for the chat, again, in case anyone puts a comment in the YouTube later, I don't really know what I'm talking about on that one. I think I remember seeing something briefly. I don't know if it's training support or something like that. I'm a little bit more solid on what the Americans are doing in the Ukraine. I wish we were doing less, but that's just a personal opinion. The fact is that we do have an advisor contingent in there trying to help out with the training, especially on the new weapons, i.e. javelins and some of the drones. And Humvees and other stuff that we have been supplying to the Ukraine in limited numbers. Okay, so with all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and finish my movement rate for like the 10th time. And the end of my movement rate is going to be my one good hind that's still left. Helicopters can move and then fire if they choose. This hind can't help because he's dispersed. I do have this hind, which is still in good order. I'm going to go ahead and take a poke with good old Mr. 16, my attack factor, versus your 18. That's going to give me a sloppy 1 to 2, which isn't so hot. Nevertheless, I will try to... I don't think I can kill you, but I might be able to disperse you. With a 2, I believe that is a dispersal. On 1 to 2, yep. So now you also have some damaged hinds. Clunk. And that's going to end my movement phase. I have no eligible cat attacks. because I forgot I used the road movement right down here, so I can't counterattack with these this Vostok Separatist battalion down here. That's going to end my turn 1. Over to your turn 1, beginning with declaring, or not declaring, recording secretly indirect fire. This is the beginning of Ukrainian turn 1.
See now. We will fire on.
So guys in the chat, while he's thinking about it, he's got 2 batteries of BM-21 Grads. Pretty much everybody in the Ukraine uses Grads, much to the civilians' lament, because it's not a very precise weapon. And it does really good when you throw a huge fistful of rockets into populated areas. Both sides are using them pretty liberally, sad to say. Not to guilt trip you while you're setting up your indirect fire, Damon.
Okay, so turn 1 will be there. Okay. Right.
Okay, so again, he can call an artillery on any unit, or pretty much on any hex that he can see, as long as he has an undispersed unit that is, that has line of sight on the hex in question, or, this is just for the chat, obviously, I know you know the rules, Damon, or his drones can see. And these drones can potentially see targets that are also even in cover. He has to roll for it, and he has to be within 10 hexes. But, yeah. All right, cool. So he has now called in his artillery. He does not tell me the hex number that they're coming in at. And we'll see what happens at the beginning of his next artillery phase. Okay, going over now to the rest of your direct fire phase. Okay, so yeah, let's just head over to your direct fire phase. A lot of your units have already fired in their opportunity fire phase, but who else is going to fire, if anyone?
The anti-air. Are you at low level or high level with your?
My helicopters are low level. They're kind of near the bottom of the hex.
Okay. Can't see them then. I don't think I've got anything else eligible, have I?
Before the IFV fired, or I should say the troop carrier fired, the actual platoon didn't. They were out of range before.
Oh yeah.
They're within range now on that last.
Have they got a chance of dispersing it?
On a cat attack, it's possible. It's going to be 1 to 2, but subtract 2 from the die roll. So if you want to save for close assault, in direct fire, not really. Direct fire, it's 8 versus 26. That is 1 to 4 odds. Yeah. However, because I'm close, again, I moved that close on purpose. I'm trying to spot them.
If I did a cat attack, would they go out and come back, or would they be swinging in the breeze at the end of the attack?
Oh no, they stay in their hex. It would be a motionless cat. A motionless cat attack, so that they would still get the benefit of cover. They would be revealed, but spoiler alert, they're revealed anyway. Number 1, the troop carriers fired, so I have them spotted that way. And number 2, I now have a friendly unit adjacent to them. They're spotted anyway. So again, I'm playing typical Zhukov tactics here. I'm kind of being a little flippant with my T-90s. I really shouldn't. They're my most powerful unit, but at the same time, they're my strongest unit. As far as defense goes, they're basically doing reconnaissance by combat at the moment.
Have they got an option to just bug out?
Yeah, just wait for your movement phase and leave. Yeah.
Can I fight and then move, or have I got to do either or?
Your vehicle can. Your infantry do not. Infantry never gets split move and fire. Again, guys, I know that doesn't make sense from like a squad level or a platoon level. These are platoons. These are 500-meter hexes and like 10-minute turns. So if you fire, you're firing for the duration. Unless you're a turret in AFV.
I can't kill the T90, can I, if I cat attack it?
It's one. So you triple. Again, post 1973 rules on cat attack. That 8 becomes 24 against 26. That's still 1 to 2. However, you get to subtract 2 from the die roll. So you'd have to literally roll a 1. No, I'm sorry. You'd have to literally roll a 1 or a 2. But you would definitely.
It's a death or glory move, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a possibility. You have 1 in 3 to kill them, a 5 out of 6 to disperse them.
Yeah, it slows you down, doesn't it? Either way. Yeah, I'm going for it.
Slava Ukraina! Alright, cool. We'll save that for the end of the turn. Cat attacks are always the last thing you do in a turn.
Okay.
So, no worries there. We have 1 assault in progress. That is, when you're doing infantry in a town versus tanks, we call it the sticky bomb phase. We'll see what happens with that at the end of the turn.
Now, the anti-tank unit, they can't move, can they? Because they've fired.
Yeah, they've already fired. So now,
he
has split move and fire, the vehicle. He can abandon the troops, but again, we wait for the movement phase. Right now, we're just in direct fire phase.
I don't think there's anything else that can see anything to shoot at, is there?
Yeah, you took a lot of opportunity fire.
Yeah, I think we're good at that.
All right, cool. We go to the movement phase. So any unit that has not fired, or if it did fire and has it's a turreted AFE, can now move.
Does that include the helicopters?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Speaking of helicopters, you have 1 dispersed unit. Part of your direct fire phase is a rally check. So roll a D6. You're looking for a 4 down to rally that hind. That counts as his attack. He did rally. That counts as his attack, but he is rallied.
So they can both DD Mao now, can't they?
Yep.
I think that the air is going to get a bit warm around them. So they're going to stay nap of Earth.
I don't possibly know what you mean. I don't know what you mean at all, says the SA-25 gunner in the tree line, with a perfect line of sight.
They're going to go due south. And then maneuver. They've got quite a bit of movement, haven't they?
They're using split move and fire, so their movement of 30 reduces to 15, but yeah.
15, okay.
Now you can change altitude if you want at the beginning of your phase. Now would be the time.
They're going to go. Yep.
Okay. So you're staying at low altitude?
They're going to stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, they're going to go low and maneuver south, and then southeast behind the town and in front of that vertical line of trees, and head southeast and go behind the main block of forest just north of the main objective. Yep.
So they can get like that far. Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right, a quarter of 15 is 4. I don't think you're ever in my line of sight for more than 4 hexes, so I don't think I get opportunity fire on you. Notice, everybody, the Russians do not have drones. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
What's the range on the AA missile?
30. Yours or mine? Mine's better than yours. Yours, I think, has a 20. Mine definitely has the 30. So mine's an SA-25.
So it doesn't matter where I am on the board, I'm hit.
Yeah,
if I go high.
Yeah, if you pop up. I at least get 1 poke at you.
Yeah.
I think it's a 1-to-1 poke. It's 30 versus your 16. It's a sloppy 1-to-1. But yeah, it is a threat. Just not a completely, it's not automatic extinction.
Okay, and the drones, they will range doesn't matter for the missiles, does it?
I'm sorry.
No matter how close or how far away they are. The anti-aircraft.
Anti-aircraft missiles, no, they have no minimum range. Bigger SAMs might, like SA-7s, SA-9s. Really big stuff, like operational level S-300s, definitely would. They're not in this game. The only ones we have in this game are those little SA-18s or 25s. Yeah, there's no minimum range on those. Now, if you use those, I don't know, and don't tell me, if you use those drones to call in your artillery, just make sure those drones can still see whatever it is you called the artillery on. If you use the drones to call in the artillery.
Mm-hmm.
If you break line of sight and it was the drone that called it in, you're going to have a problem. But
yeah. The drones will just drop south 5 hexes.
Okay, still at high altitude?
Yeah.
So aircraft can move freely through woods and towns, obviously, if they're at high altitude, but they have to be at high altitude to do that. Piotr says, rain of fire, Damon.
And the BTR in the first objective will evacuate southeast down the highway and join the weapons platoon in the second objective hex, if it can get that far.
It did fire, so it has half of its movement. However, it is on roads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it makes that pretty easily. Because you're withdrawing behind the town and then the woods. I don't think I ever really have good opportunity fire opportunities. Okay, any other movement? Let me zoom in slightly. See if a better look at it.
Just thinking about the...
Come on, dummy.
No, I'll leave the... I think the light anti-tank unit, I'm just deciding whether to move that vehicle or not.
This one over here to the east?
Yeah, because they're going to get stomped on next turn.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever happens. They can't help... Whatever happens, the infantry unit's stomped. Yeah, the vehicle's going to bug out. It's going to head along the riverbank and join the BMP.
Like so. That's definitely legal. All right, we got a comment in the chat here. So Snappy Nick says, what makes you think the war will start tomorrow? Snappy Nick, I do not think the war will start tomorrow. You might not have been here for the earlier part of the stream. I haven't really gotten to the analysis and predictions part of the stream yet. In fact, I probably already spent too much time on it, though, to be honest. Honestly, I don't think that a conventional, all-out Soviet, Zhukov, Konev, Rokossovsky style invasion of the East Ukraine is in the cards. I know there's a lot of worry and a lot of angst in the press. I would definitely not put it past the Russians to ratchet up tensions via their separatist puppets or minions, whatever you want to call them, in the East Ukraine. I don't, I'm not saying that would never happen. I don't think a full-scale war is in Putin's interests. So when I say Putin's not going to start a war, I'm not saying that he's not going to do that out of the goodness of his heart. I just don't think it's really in his interests. A separatist victory in the Ukraine is even more disastrous to Putin than a separatist loss. What he wants to do is keep that war going and simmering at a low boil that he can control going forward. The end objective is to keep Ukraine out of NATO through NATO Charter Article 5 considerations. We're just doing this, again, because it's in the news, people are really interested in it, and it's a theoretical war game. But the short answer is no. I don't think that this war. I don't predict that this scenario is going to happen. All we're saying here with this stream and with this war game is, number one, we're having fun on a Sunday, and number two, if it did happen, it might look a little something like this, or at least a very small part of it. So I hope that answers the question. Oh no, Rasmus, I got 5 minutes of screen time, so I wanted to take a quick look. Thank you for checking us out, Rasmus. Rasmus has apparently been bike riding without his Viking helmet again. So he's not, he actually took apparently a bit of an encounter with a with a sidewalk recently. So I hope you're feeling better, Rasmus. Don't overdo it and get better as soon as you can. Piotr says, 5 Ukrainian soldiers killed this week. Tensions are definitely on the rise. Yeah, Russia is just showing its muscles to show their strength to their own citizens. Piotr, that is absolutely correct. So again, if we go back to my sources here, I don't want to derail the game again, so I'm going to go through this super fast. Back here to this source in particular. This broadcast right here. This is a YouTube video. Use that description in your search for YouTube, and you'll probably find that Al Jazeera interview. There's a Russian analyst, there's a Ukrainian analyst, and there's an American analyst. It's a 3-person panel. Everybody gets their say, and the takeaway is, it's very possible that with increasing anti-Putin protests in Russia, there's a lot of domestic unrest increasing in Russia. Russia's economy is in the shitter. There has been a per household income decrease of something like 14%. The economy's really in the toilet. Part of that is coronavirus. Part of that is just generally Russia's economy is never that great. And part of it is this interference with the Nord pipeline, which is another whole kettle of worms I don't really want to get into. So what we see with a lot of dictators is when domestic problems are heavy, start a war somewhere, and it gets the people fired up and distracted. Also, Putin may be, again, trying to frighten at least the United States about this Nord pipeline. NATO wants it. Germany wants it. They're the ones that are trying to buy the oil from Russia. The Americans are sticking their butt in, which I really don't think they should. I'm an American veteran myself, but on this issue, I disagree with what's going on about that pipeline. I don't think that's our business, and I think it's incredibly hypocritical on Ukraine's part. We're at war with Russia. Everybody come help us because the Russians are invading our... Oh, but I'll still take my cut of Russia's oil money. That's just straight out hypocrisy. So anyway, with all this stuff going on, I think Putin's just trying to scare some people, turn up some heat, turn up some pressure, cause some instability, make more friends at home, silence his enemies at home, intimidate some of his rivals abroad, and things like that. A full-scale invasion, a ground forces, Bagration-style invasion, like we're kind of predicting here, I don't really see it. But if it did happen, it might look a little something crazy like this. Cool. All right, so I think is there any other movement you wanted to
do? Not yet. No, thank you.
Okay, cool. I go over to. I think that's it for your turn then, because we have a cat attack. What am I talking about? At the end of your turn, we close with everyone's favorite phase, sticky bomb phase. All right, so we have Ukrainian mechanized infantry. That did not take opportunity fire. That was their transport vehicle, which is left. And they're going to launch a close assault against these Russian T-90s as they cruise down this double highway, this 2-lane highway. So we have 8. Cat attacks work differently in 1973 forwards per Arab Israeli War and TCME rules for people in the chat. That 8 triples to 24, 24 versus 26. That's still a sloppy 2-to-1. That asterisk does not apply. That asterisk gives a +1 defense bonus. That's basically reactive armor, or Chabo armor, or RPG cages, or who knows what. Anti-shaped charge specialized armor. That does not apply for cat attacks, so we're looking at a grand total of 24 versus 26. That's a sloppy 1-to-2. However, you still get to subtract 2 from the die roll per close assault rules, so we're looking at a grand total of 1-to-2. You have to subtract 2 from that roll. Roll at your convenience, Mr. Damon.
Yes.
Oh, what is that? I can't see it. It's right behind one of the icons. That is a 1. That becomes a -1 on the 1 to 2 table. Rolled on camera for everyone to see. Again, Slava Ukraina. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. That is some more burning T90s. Dude, my whole T90 company's pretty much wiped out. What's up with that? Alright, are you quite done destroying my army now, Damon? Okay, can I actually play my own game now? Or what? I'm only in here trying to take over your country. I don't see what the big deal is. We always... aren't we all just Soviets? Can't we just pretend that the Germans are still the enemy? Alright. Do I have a 20mm for a sticky bomb phase ship? Don't even. Yeah, let's not get into that. I tried to fend off that. I did try to fend off that cat attack. It did not work because Damon rolled a mighty 1 on his dice. Yeah, apparently he had Ukrainian Tom Hanks in that platoon, and yeah, that was it for that. So Snappy Nick asks, sorry, do you think Ukraine will join NATO in the future? They damn sure tried. The election of Poroshenko in 2014, I say election, the beginning of the Poroshenko administration, let's put it that way, the billionaire chocolate king over there in Kiev, that's kind of what started this whole mess. Or at least finally kicked it off. It was the straw that broke the camel's back in the East Ukraine. As far as tensions that have always been in the tensions in East Ukraine versus West Ukraine, this goes back to Catherine the Great. I'm not kidding about that. When Russian monarchs would try to forcibly repopulate and deport certain areas of the Russian Empire in those days to ensure that they had more direct control over these territories. So there's been a large ethnically Russian population in eastern parts of Ukraine for at least 250 years. Again, back to Catherine the Great. It was artificially imposed with a great deal of brutality and forced ethnic relocation and so on. Stalin doubled down on this in the 1930s, and yeah, we're still paying the bill for it to this day. So, but the idea... So the guy that was in power before, Yanukovych, what kind of finally threw him out of power is when he rejected, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong on this, is when he rejected the EU participation agreements that were on the table. He said he was going to sign them. He changed his mind. He said, no, I'm not going to sign them. He probably had Putin's pressure on that because he was very much a Putin guy. In fact, when he was thrown out of power, he went into Moscow in exile. He's basically been Putin's roommate ever since. And that's kind of what started the whole 2014-15 war, which has never really ended. Despite Minsk 1 and 2, ceasefires, we're seeing it here in the news that, escalating tensions are again, and outright combat is again happening in the East Ukraine. It's just happening between separatists, albeit and admittedly separatists enjoying a great deal of support from the Russians. But Putin is being very careful not to give them enough support to win. Make no mistake, if Putin wanted Luhansk and Donetsk, he'd have it. If Putin wants a slice of the Ukraine, he walks in and takes it. How do I know this? He's done it before. Have you heard of the Crimea? He's done it before. He does not want it because if he takes it, that frees up NATO, that frees up Ukraine to join NATO. So to answer your question in a weird way, yeah, he doesn't want that war. Again, like I've said it a couple times, he doesn't want to lose the war. He doesn't want to win either. He needs that war to persist going forward, especially since he can control the level of violence to his benefit. So this little scenario that we have here on our gaming table is almost already predicting that Putin has lost. If Putin has to go in guns blazing in a conventional war, not the hybrid war that he's been admittedly waging since 2014, if he has to go in there, guns blazing, he's kind of already lost. Because if this happened, to answer Snabby Nick's question, if this scenario that we have on our gaming table, if this happens, yeah, Ukraine's probably going to be in NATO pretty quickly. Which is why it's not going to happen. Putin won't allow it. Dennis Cross has joined us. Hello. Ukraine matter sounds very complicated. Who am I to say? He's knee deep in your Flames of War Nam again. Oh, man. There you go. He's back in country, man. Which always gets me back into reading history, watching old documentaries, and looking at military maps. Awesome. Yep, you are good, Jim. Piotr, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I know I'm good. I'm good at many things. But, cool, no worries. I probably missed something earlier in the chat. Okay. I see we already have our first downvote on YouTube. Thanks so much, somebody, for that very, very educated opinion. But that's fine. You are free to do so as you wish. Probably because I'm talking too much. If it's for that, I definitely agree. Alright, so we're not going to begin Russian turn 2. This stream is going to be way too long.
I'm sure there's people out there whose hobby is downvoting YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Some of the downvotes you see, you just think, what's that for? What could be the rationale behind that?
Yeah.
It's just for the fact that I can be an arsehole, so I'm going to be an arsehole.
It's
nobody can do anything about it.
I have a video with a basket full of puppies in sunshine and ice cream cones. 20 downvotes.
Yeah.
Someone's just a miserable prick, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got here? Okay. We only came close on a bad ratio on downvotes to upvotes once in Sitrep's history. And looking back at that video, I can see why, and it is legitimately my fault. It was one of our Sitrep skirmish games where we did drug war in Mexico, and the way I titled the video made it sound like I was going to be broadcasting a real firefight. And probably people logged in saying, oh man, someone got helmet cam from an actual firefight. What the hell is this? This guy's playing with little cardboard cutouts. This is bullshit. Downvote. So I did not do a very good job on titling that video. That's the only time we've ever really come close to having a bad, ratio. Other than that, that's fine. As long as I get more ups than downs, I'm fine. Okay, so over to my turn 2. I'm going to begin with some epic calling in some artillery. And I'm not sure what else is going on here. I gotta find what units I still have that can spot, because a unit cannot spot, of course, if it's destroyed, and it cannot spot if it is dispersed. I should also say, in case it wasn't clear already, in fact, I never did say it, it's clear to me, but let me make it clear for everyone in the audience. That Vostok volunteer battalion cannot call in the artillery. They're allies, but they're not on the same radio freaks. Otherwise, hell yeah, I'd be calling in Grods on your headquarters unit right now. But that would be beyond cheesy. Okay, I guess that's about it. I don't really see that I can do that much. Alright, cool. Alright, I got it written down for next turn. Cool. There's no artillery to resolve this turn, because this is now turn 2. Now I go to my direct fire phase. Oh, damn. Get ready, son. Okay, I got two 36s. However, they do divide because I'm using A-class weapons versus soft targets. 36 versus 6 is still 6 to 1. 6 to 1, add 1 to the die roll. Pretty sure he's still toast. Let me get my webcam up here. T-72s, 10 of them, 5 per counter, point blank into a light anti-tank section. That is a 5, which becomes a 6. It's a bad roll, but I think I still got it. Just brute force my way through the equation. What do I say? 6 to 1? Yeah, a modified 6 is still a kill. So, cool. Oh no! First Ukraine unit is down. Alright, boom. That's happened. I'm going to also go ahead and try to rally this unit. I need a 4 down on that T-72 platoon. Come on, machine. I hit the wrong button. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll that because I did not have the camera on.
I believe it. That's cool.
I can roll another 4 anyway.
Dice never lie.
Yeah, except when you roll them off camera. I got another 1. Honest, I did. I promise.
That
Right, so,
got a drop. How lucky am I?
So he made it his rally. Cool. Alright, that's going to wrap things up over here. Except one tiny thing I do want to do. I like to put little units to show where units are, or little flames where units are destroyed. Cool. No fire happening over here now because there's no one left. They're spoken for. They no longer have a line of sight. Damn you! Okay, I'm going to try to rally those T-90s on the highway. Turn on the webcam first this time. Alright, T-90s on the highway. Oh, hell yeah, they're pissed off. Damn you! And I'm going to try to rally those other Hinds. They fail. They're still confused and smoking and having a bad day. Alright. Alright, so I'm declaring that I'm done with my fire phase. Heading over to movement. Now, the Ukrainians do have reinforcements coming. I have to keep an eye out for those. And I don't know what side of the table they're coming in on. The Ukrainians have a company of T-80 UDs entering the table from either the south, west, or east, south, or west table edges, just not the north. So I have to keep an eye out for that. They enter in on his turn 3 movement phase. Alrighty. What am I doing with these guys? I guess remount them, but yeah, you know what? Let me not waste time. So you can remount vehicles in your transports with half your movement rate. These are BTR 82s. They have a sick movement rate. They're basically upgraded T80 BTR 80As. They just have a bigger engine. I do have to be careful of this guy. Also this guy. Oh man. Damon's gonna blow up all my guys. That's okay. That's okay. I got this. So half my movement, I have 10 movement points left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm staying out of the line of sight of this guy here, that's for sure. Ooh, boy. Let me not move exactly close to him, or directly adjacent to him. Those guys are still dismounted. So if the infantry unit is above the transport unit, it's dismounted. If it's underneath, it's still mounted. Okay, these guys are going to remount as well. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oof. Let me not do that. Cover to cover. Maybe a little bit smarter about that. Okay, down here, my big right hook. Or technically left hook since I'm moving south. These guys have split movement fire, so they have 6 movement points left. Because some of them fired and some of them recovered or rallied, that's basically their attack. So all 3 of those platoons have air quote attacked. So they all have the split movement fire rule. They can only move half now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another woods hex. Where are those BTRs? BTRs are one thing. BMPs are another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh. He can't get out of the gully yet because the gully's too slow. 5, 6. I'll stay there. Actually, no, I won't. I'm going to stay right there so I can put that town under fire. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, I think that's about it for my movement phase. I tried to keep this game small because I knew we were going to be talking about real world issues a great deal, so I didn't want the game to be big. Alright, that's going to be it for my movement phase. I have no close assaults. I have nothing else. I've already made my rallies. Cool, that will conclude Russian turn 2 over to Ukrainian turn 2. We begin with you calling in new artillery and me checking out Mr. Chat. 14 watching, says James Cuts, and only 6 upvotes. Time to smash that like button. James Cuts, I super appreciate it. Howard, hello. Very prophetic, Jim. Hope it doesn't happen. No, we are, Howard. Again, I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth here with this stream. The stream takes a look at what would happen if this ground war actually kicked off on a large-scale conventional sense. At the same time, based on what I'm seeing as of 4/11, April 11th, 2021, I don't think this is going to happen. If it did happen, this is the kind of thing we would probably see, but I don't think it will. For a whole bunch of reasons I've now gone over a whole bunch of times. I don't want to slow down the chat even more. So the Russians put the town... Okay, so hold on. Let me check it out here. I did my part. There you go. I did my part. Would you like to know more? That's what I should start. I should start like a little Starship Troopers Citizens Federation spiel here on the chat. Cool. Thanks very much for all the likes, everybody. I super appreciate it. Ben Johnson says, dude, I rolled so many ones when we used to play on the phone. Yeah, I'll bet you did. So Piotr says, the Russians put the town on fire, and later we did not start the fire, right? Yeah, the only thing Putin wants less than a separatist defeat in the eastern Ukraine is a separatist victory. Because, yeah, that opens up a lot of possibilities for the Ukraine that Putin does not want. In fact, it goes against the very reason Putin has stuck his beak into the Ukraine in the first place. A separatist victory would almost pave the way for the remainder of Ukraine to join NATO, which is exactly what Putin does not want. If Putin wants a slice of Ukraine, he can take it. He's done it before. He has not taken the Luhansk and Donetsk yet because he doesn't want it. It would lead to very bad results for him. And again, all this stuff I say, I'm not defending Putin. When I'm explaining his motives, I'm not trying to justify anything he's doing. This is just explaining his, as far as I can tell, his strategic considerations and what he hopes to get out of this. Because when you're trying to predict what's going to happen in the Ukraine, you have to start that discussion with a simple question. What does Putin want? And the reason you have to start with that is because Putin has a huge amount of control over what happens here. So what is going to happen in the Ukraine? Whatever Putin wants to happen in the Ukraine, or in Ukraine. I keep calling it the Ukraine. I shouldn't do that. What's going to happen in Ukraine, especially the East Ukraine, whatever Putin wants to happen in the East Ukraine. So what does Putin want? So yeah, I'm not trying to justify or excuse anything he's doing. All right, so have you called in your new artillery, Damon?
Yep.
Cool. We will now resolve your old artillery. What are you doing?
You're going to enjoy this one.
Uh-oh. I doubt it.
I was on. You will.
Okay.
I was anticipating my centre unit not surviving.
Oh,
the
no.
Unit on the centre objective.
Did you call an artillery on
and the
yourself?
objective being overrun. Yep.
Okay. Okay, he called in a grad strike on himself. There are rules for that. Oh god, I have to find those rules now. It's the artillery scatter diagram. Basically, things get very confused as the mechanized infantry guys start screaming into the radio, check your fire, don't fire the grats. So we roll on the Panzer Leader, right out of the book, the Panzer Leader scatter diagram. That is going to be a 1 or a 2, it lands on a target. 3, 4, 5, it lands in an adjacent target. 6, it dissipates completely. So you're actually hoping to fail a scatter check here, if that makes any sense. 6, the grads dissipate completely. The message got in there just in time. The guy literally had his finger on the ignition key on those rockets, and no fire comes in. So, cool. You did not nuke yourself. By the way, don't feel bad. I've totally
Which is useful, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to fire next turn, would I? Because I have to fire every other turn.
That's true. Technically, you haven't fired. There you go. And yeah, those grads have to reload. Cool. So the new artillery is now called in. We now go to your direct fire phase, if any. I tried to stay out of line of sight, but I may not have always succeeded. Oh, there's definitely some shit going on in the south. But we'll get to that.
Where are the Jellywalkers? They're out of sight. The lead unit that's diverted into that village. Is the BMP hiding on the edge of the forest here?
You're talking about my BTRs here that are into that central village?
No, sorry, north, where you diverted off the highway.
Oh, these guys
to the
up
east.
here.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe there's a BMP there.
Yeah, there's a BMP there, but I am, well, unless your drones can spot me, I don't think they're close enough. Because right now I'm covered in a hex, and you don't have a unit adjacent to me. You also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, your western drone. Yeah, your eastern drone can just barely see me. So your eastern drone has to roll a 1 through a 4 to get a laser or thermal image on my guys in 2108.
Is it worth it? Yeah, I need to do as much damage as I can, as quick as I can. 2.
2, he spotted. So this drone, again, this is the first time we've ever used drones in Panzer Leader. I can't believe I just said that sentence. But we do have some surveillance drones on the table. These are the drones that the U.S. and Turkey are supplying to the UAF in recent weeks. That is spotted. He has this hex spotted. He uploads that to his headquarters unit, which is not dispersed. He's engaged in combat, but he's not dispersed, so he does get to use his drone rules this turn. And then after that, headquarters downloads it to all, his units. Obviously, that's what he's there for. So yeah, this guy. Long story short, take your 19th shot of the day. This guy can now see that target.
Is it worth firing though, or is it worth saving the missile if the tank comes out to play?
That's a BMP. Oh, that's a BMP.
Yeah.
Yep. So BMPs in this game, guys, carry AT5 AT5 Spandrel. I can't remember what the Russian name for the missile is. The real name. I don't have it written on there. But it's a nasty 50. It's a nasty 40-point missile strike. An AT6 AT5 Spandrel versus a BTR 80. Yeah, that's gonna make a mess.
That's a waste of a shot. So at 6 hexes, what damage will the autocannon do?
8 versus 8. It's 1-to-1. 1-to-1, and you have to add 1 to the die roll. So you may disperse. By the way, you have line of sight, believe it or not, on that T90.
He's out of sight of the drone though. He's at 11.
Oh, okay.
What about the other drone? Can the other drone see him?
I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, guys. So the way we're working drones, again, I made up these rules totally for this game, so you won't find it in any rule book. Drones can spot, especially if they're at high altitude, anywhere on the table. They can spot units in covered hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nice way out.
Too far away. If they're within 10 hexes and they roll a 4 under, that's lasers, that's thermal imaging, that's all this other stuff.
No,
okay.
290's out. Right.
Piotr says, okay, got to go. # Team Damon, and good luck, Jim. No worries, Piotr. Thanks for coming out.
Cheers, matey. Thank you.
Yeah, so far he's not doing too bad. My T90s took a hell of a beating coming in. Hell of a beating.
Is it worth firing? No, because I don't want to give that position away because that'll just make them an artillery target. Actually, going that way, it might be worth. So the autocannon fire is not going to achieve a great deal, is it?
I think you're breaking up a little bit. The autocannon.
The MP against BBR.
It's a 1-to-1. Add 1 to the die roll.
Maybe disperse.
Yeah, at best. So one thing I really like about the new TCME table for
I'll hold that fire.
Tactical Combat Middle East TRT is the way they have it designed. Whatever the odds are is the number you need to kill. So a 1 kills on the 1-to-1 row. A 1 or a 2 kills on the 2-to-1 table. A 1, 2, or 3 kills on the 3-to-1 column. Before modifiers, obviously. So it's almost like you have the table pre-memorized. All right, so no fire then, except for maybe down here in the south.
No, just down here. Yeah, let's do some more discussion with the separatists.
I never did fire those guys.
So everybody in the town is going to try and take out another section.
Okay, that opportunity fire token is from turn 1, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that.
So 8, 16, 18.
Yep.
Against. No, I'll do another 9. So that's 2-to-1.
Okay, that's against the separatist militia. Go ahead and roll 2-to-1. I'm sorry. 2-to-1 row. 2-to-1 column. Add 1 to the die roll for buildings.
A 2.
2 becomes a 3 on 2-to-1. He is dispersed.
Then the BMP and the VTR in the forest. They can do some DACA Oh no, that unit are not moving now, are they? They've gone out of sight.
Let me make sure.
See them.
I apologize. I was checking out my Twitch stream. Where are we talking about?
The militia that the BMP fired at last turn. Can the drone spot them as well, or is it only one spot per turn?
No, they can spot automatically, or as many times as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, you're definitely in range. Yeah, those drones are important. I meant those drones to be a big deal. Okay, so now this hex is now spotted.
So the BMP and the BTR will put fire into them.
All right, cool. We have a grand total of 16 points. There's 2 separatist mobs in there. 16 points versus. Are you engaging one or both? You have to add 1 to your die roll. Is the only consideration.
I'll engage one.
Cool. So 16 to 3. That's 5 to 1. Add 1 to the roll.
2.
That's a kill. My poor separatist mobs. All those tracksuits. All those ski masks.
Anything? Now the helicopters are out of sight. They are in sight, but so what can the javelin unit see? Can they see anything?
Possibly, depending on how your Western drone does. I think that's about it. Oh, technically that T-90. But again, you don't have to have a drone close enough, so no.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
We already went over that earlier.
Eeny, miny, mo. Yeah, we'll shoot.
I don't know what's going on, guys. We're dropping our likes. People are unliking the video now. I don't know what's up with that. But no worries. Jesus Christ, we're literally losing them by the second. Now we're getting them back again. What's going on? I shouldn't worry about that yet. Alright, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll javelin one of the BTRs while it's loaded with infantry.
Okay, try to make a spot check with the drone. Because they are right now in buildings.
2.
Why? Who invented these drones and why are they in the game? Yep, that hex is spotted. Off goes Mr. Javelin. Here's the good news, Mr. Javelin's now spotted. Okay, so, oh my god, yeah, that is definitely a wrecked BTR section, and it's infantry. So that's an armored vehicle, that counts as a wreck counter. And there is also a... There we go. Cool. Alright, any other fire going on?
No, I think that'll have to do for now. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah,
Ben
that'll do
says,
for shooting.
what the fuck? I don't know, Ben. Are you talking about the video? Is there a problem with the game? Did I do something wrong? I'm looking at the comments here. So, I'm looking back through the comments. I don't know, Ben. No worries. Ben, if you have a question, specify. I'm not sure to what you're referring. Yeah, just let me know if there's a question, Ben. I'll try to answer. All right, cool. So that will be the end of Ukrainian fire. We then go to Ukrainian movement.
So, the westernmost BMP,
Oh yeah, way over here.
yeah, is going to move through the woods into the hex with the javelin team. And they can't mount this turn, can they?
Oh, let me see. There's no real units terribly close to you, so you can break cover. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So to load requires half your movement. It depends on how you get there and how many movement points you spend. Is the full answer.
Okay. Okay, so they're loaded now.
Who are they loading?
Loading the javelin team.
Okay, the javelin team fired. So the javelin team cannot
okay,
load
yeah,
this
forget
turn.
that then. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
So they're just going to be.
Yeah, loading is technically movement, and infantry units can never move and fire in the same turn.
They're going to pull up next to them, ready to load.
There's a. I thought maybe you meant the mech platoon in there. There's a infantry platoon in there that you can load them because they haven't fired. But no worries.
I want to move the javelins because I think that hex is going to get a bit warm soon.
I can't possibly know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you mean.
The infantry unit will drop back 1 hex into the objective hex with the with their BTR because I've just painted a big X target in that hex. So okay.
Well, what's going to work in your favor there is not to give away too much, but what's going to work in your favor there a little bit is those javelins were not spotted earlier. So my first artillery mission could not be against those javelins.
I've got a turn to evacuate them, but
yeah,
if I leave them there, they're dog meat.
If I call, I'm just saying, I think you've got a little bit of time. So, long story short, my first artillery mission cannot be on that hex, and my grads, just like your grads, need a full turn to reload. So yeah, they probably do have to move, but they probably got a little bit of time. I.e. turn 5.
What's the AAA range on like an armoured unit? So if like my helicopters come in sight of like your T-72s or whatever, how far can they shoot doing?
The weapons effectiveness chart says that an A-class unit like a tank can engage out to 4 hexes, however not with its full attack value. So an A-class, the chart does answer the question, says that you have a maximum of 4 AF out to 6 hexes. And that's basically the roof-mounted Dushka or NSV. I can't fire my main gun at a helicopter. Technically, Russian tanks can fire guided missiles from their main gun tubes, and those guided missiles, like snipers and so on, and reflex, can engage helicopters, but I don't have that in this game right now. That's just a little bit of complication I didn't want to get into. So, for the tech wizards out there, yes, a Russian tank can shoot down helicopters, but not in this game, just because the madness has to stop somewhere. Maybe a future iteration of this game might include those rules.
Okay.
Bob Peterson says he's got some family stuff, so I'm gonna have to watch the replay. No worries. Just go ahead and ignore like the first hour of the video. Where, in fact, I may just cut all that out. The entire first hour of this video. Way too much political discourse and so on. But James, please just remember that there are other numbers on the dice between 5s and 6s, like last time. Bob Peterson is not lying. The Russians were just absolutely throwing bricks all night last time I ran this game. 5 after 6 after 6 after 6 after 5 after 6. It was nuts.
Okay. Can I just bring the map a little bit further south, please, Jim?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Okay. So if the helicopters move to 3319, please.
3319. Gotcha. Oh no, they're closing the door behind my separatists.
Do they pose any risk to the helicopters, shooty wise?
Well, they're now adjacent to enemy units. Yeah, you can fire now. Um, you can also receive some fire. Infantry can take opportunity fire with basic small arms versus helicopters. Given the units that you're up against, I don't think you're in too much danger.
Okay, we'll do that then. We'll go there. The western drone will go back north 3 hexes.
Western drone, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Still at high altitude?
Sorry, north, Jim, please.
Oh, sorry. You said back. I assumed south. You meant like returning north to its previous position. I gotcha.
Yep.
I heard back. I thought like falling back.
No. Right. Let's see. Now they're still there. They've still been. If they come over there, they can get them. That can still shoot that through there with drone support. These two dudes. Now they're both turreted, so they can move and fire. And it's three to move out of a
out of a gully hex, yeah.
Out of a gully, yeah. And you've got to spend a quarter movement in line of sight to be engaged, haven't you?
Yeah, but you got to be in, you have to be in continuous line of sight of the unit that hopes to take opportunity fire. So opportunity fire, especially with the movement rates that these units have, is pretty easy to avoid.
Yeah. So the BMP and the BTR, they've got half a movement left, haven't they?
Yes, because they fired. They have turreted AFEs. They now have half their movement rate left.
So, and the tanks can't see. They can see them when they get there. So they'll be moving. They'll be out of sight. So the BMP is going to go straight south and then into the objective hex.
Not in line of sight. Am in line of sight. Am in line of sight. That is so no, yes. So that's 1, 2.5. 2.5 is not a quarter of 13.
And then the BTR will go further south and go into the unoccupied town hex, because otherwise I'm overloading the hexes, aren't I?
Yep.
Okay. We'll do that. That unit's holding them up there. The heroes on the bridge are heroing away there. Grads don't need to move. AAA doesn't need to move. How much movement? If he goes there, now he goes there. You can see across there. That would be 1, 2, 3 hexes. That's not movement, but he's got drone support, so he can still stay there and shoot with drone support if need be. That's cool. Yeah, nothing else can move on the west, can they?
Oh, in the west.
They've got to wait for the next turn to load.
Oh, for the
I want to keep something on the objective, and the javelins can load up next turn and start moving. I think that's all of my movement, Jim. Thank you.
No worries. That concludes turn 2 because there are no cats in progress. Russian turn is going to be pretty quick. Alright, so calling in artillery for the next turn. Well, that's easy because I'm going to be loading next turn. This turn, my artillery lands on hex 1913 with both batteries of Grads. Holy crap. 28 plus 28 equals a grand total of 56 versus 7. That is 8 to 1 odds. I have to add 1 for building hexes. Yeah, he's toast. That is going to conclude my artillery phase. Now we go to my direct fire phase. Direct fire phase. I have many units to fire. Oh, it's true. It's damned true. Okay. Awesome. So here comes some gunfire. 36, 36, 36, all my T-72s and this BMP and this BTR, they're all going to unload into Hex 3020. I just have to see how bad it's going to be. They're spotted twice. They're spotted by Separatists adjacent, and they're spotted by gunfire into the Separatists. So there's going to be some long-range direct fire. The problem is it's probably not as scary as it sounds. 36 versus infantry. At more than 5 hexes becomes quartered. Okay, that sucks. So those 36s are actually 9s. 9 plus 9 plus 9 is 27 plus 15. Again, A star, 8 star for autocannons. They don't reduce like normal A-class weapons. So 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 15 plus 8. Total of 50 points. Unless, oh, what the hell am I doing? I'm going to fire, there's an armored target in there. Hey, armored target, it was nice knowing you. 36 versus 11, because you're going to have to add 5 for concrete buildings, so that's 3 to 1. I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 platoons of those T-72s to get 6 to 1. Add 1 to die roll. 3 becomes a 4. He's wrecked. Get wrecked, son! That takes care of that. Where's my Ukrainian wreck counter? Damn it, I get to put Ukrainian wreck counters on the table too. Kaboom. Next, I have 1 left. That's going to be 9 plus 15 plus 8. Because I'm terrible at math. 9 plus 15 plus 8 is 32. 32 versus... I want that headquarters unit. I want to shut down those drones. 8. 32 versus 8. 3 plus 5 is a total of 8 versus my 32. That's 4 to 1. I have to add 1 to the die roll. Turning on the webcam. This is an important roll. So I'm engaging the headquarters unit, which has fired direct weapons against the Separatists, so I can spot them. 4 to 1. I have to add 1 to the die roll. So basically, I need a 1, 2, or a 3. A 5. Alright, he is dispersed. So the drones are still up. They just can't do anything as long as the headquarters unit is dispersed, is pinned down. If I destroy the headquarters unit, the drones are gone. Because the headquarters unit are the guys that are literally flying the drones. Okay, so that's going to be it for my fire phase. At least on that side of the map. He never fired at me, so I don't have him spotted yet. Alright, cool. Let's go to to conclude Russian attack phase, I'm going to try, or direct fire phase, I'm going to try again to rally those shitty Hinds over there. Hinds! Get your ass back in the war, son. There you go. It's more like it. Unfortunately for me, that's his attack. Now begins my movement phase. Dismount. Dismount.
Shazbot.
Using the road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. They just got there. These two, they're gonna stay in Overwatch. Also, your T-80s are coming on the board this turn. I gotta be careful of that. Remount. Actually, yeah, remount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that legal? Yes. God damn, I keep forgetting how fast these BTR-80s are, or BTR-82s are. As far as I can tell, the BTR-82 versus the BTR-80A, BTR-80 has the usual 14.5mm machine gun. The BTR-80A replaces that with a new 30mm turret. It's the same gun that's in the BMP-2. And then the BTR-82 increases armor protection and has a more powerful engine. So a slight increase in weapons. I'm sorry, in protection and speed is the game effect. So they are. Let me make this hex a little bit more clear. Total of 3 stacking points in this hex. Dismounted infantry, empty AIFV, loaded APC, or IFV I should say, with that unit inside of it. So a total of 3 points. The hex is legal. Okay, almost done. Shit. You know what, Damon? Fuck your Sams. Bring it. High altitude. Bring all that noise.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're at high altitude. You saw that. Your Sam guy totally saw that.
There's only one thing to do when I see that.
There you go. We're looking at 25 versus 18. That is 1-to-1 odds.
Whoosh.
Oh, shit on you, man. Boom! Hind blown out of the sky by Ukrainian SA-18. Oh, man, that wasn't nice, man. You suck. Just for that. Oh, now somebody else is streaming. Hobby Lodge. Hobby Lodge, if I knew how to raid somebody, I would. Because I don't want to say we're almost done here, but we'll be done before you are. Okay, so I'm going to get within half range, and then that helicopter is also going to fire. I've already taken my lumps. So let me just go ahead and... 1, 2, 3, Okay, so now I'm within half range for my H-class weapon. So I'm going to fire off with my one remaining H-class rocket pods off of there. Again, all the Hinds carry H-class rocket strike and an AT-6 missile strike. So
just to be an arse, can my Hinds interrupt in any fashion?
oh yeah, you are Hinds. Now that will be their fire.
Is it worth it? I've got to protect my HQ. Without the HQ, I lose the drones. You're gonna bring
I have to spend at least a quarter of my movement in your line of sight. I was high altitude. You were not. Oh, I was high altitude, so you saw me the whole time. I'm just going through the rules here super fast. Yes.
If one of them engages, how much damage could he do?
It's 1 to 2 odds, 16 versus 18. So, no kills, say 50-50 to disperse. If two of them engage, it's 32 versus 18. It becomes 1 to 1. 1 is a kill.
So just driving you off this turn be enough, and then I'd still have a bit of firepower left to go against some of the stuff that's attacking the objective. But do I also need to try and put fire onto the AA unit? No, this is the bigger threat. I'll use one Hind to try and disperse your Hind.
It's a Hind match, everybody. Hind versus Hind in aerial dogfighting. That makes no sense, but it's fine. So yes, that's a 1 to 1 odds. I'm sorry, 1 to 2 odds.
3.
3 is barely sufficient. It is a dispersal. 1 to 2 odds, and you swore to 3. So not shot down, but dispersed.
That'll do for now.
Okay. Let me wrap up the rest of my movement. I think I'm pretty much done. That was the only thing I really had left. Except, what does he want to do? Okay. That's it for my movement phase.
Okay, so we've got a bit of complex interrupting to do here because I'm going to need some. Can I still use the drones or not with the HQ being dispersed?
Not right now, no. The drones are out of action while the drones are.
Okay, righto.
HQ is dispersed.
Yep.
Now,
fair enough.
That's it for my movement phase. To conclude my turn, I'm going to go ahead and launch my close assault. Although, I don't really see this becoming a thing because it's just not strong enough. You have a grand total of 10. 7 plus 3 is defense, plus 5 for the concrete buildings, makes 15 total points against my 5 plus 5. Sorry, my 4 plus 4. 8 versus 15 is barely 1 to 2. Subtract 2 from the die roll for cat attack, add 1 for buildings. 1 to 2, subtract 1 from the die roll is the end of the equation. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. That's a 1, dog.
Oh.
Those Vostok guys, we're not playing around. That becomes a 0 on the 1 to 2 table. Everything in there is destroyed. And now the Russians are back in business. That is mechanized infantry destroyed, headquarters unit destroyed. As the headquarters unit goes down, also go down the drones. I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. I really hey, you know what? As a player,
you're allowed to enjoy that one.
As a player, I hate the drones. As a designer, I love the drones. I mean, I literally invented them last night for Panzerleader, so they seem to be a pretty important unit.
I like them.
Yeah. Now, I did forget to try and rally these guys. The Separatist Battalion, we're going to give a 1 to a 3 to rally instead of a 1 to a 4. They're not professional soldiers. Nevertheless, he does rally. He did not get to take part in that cat attack, obviously. He does not get to occupy that hex. So that hex is actually still clear. That's the one weird thing about cats, and I've looked up that rule 50 times because it feels weird every time we come across it. When you close assault a hex, per Panzer leader, you do not get to occupy the hex afterwards.
That seems a bit silly.
Yeah, I think I know what they're going for there. It's your turn and my turn are actually happening simultaneously, obviously. So as I'm clearing out the hex, you have the opportunity to levy more units into the hex. I think that's what they were going for. But yeah, every time I run across that rule, and we've run across it in a million different games, it always strikes me as a little weird. I've looked it up 50 times. 50 times I get the same answer. But again, what they were going for is your turn and my turn are happening simultaneously. As I am destroying those units in that hex, you, if you want, get to levy units. And otherwise, you have to come up with things like opportunity movement, which some games have. Battle group is a good example, reaction movement. But on a big battalion level game like this, it gets too complicated. So they just had it, it's a trick of the turn sequence, but it kind of makes a weird abstract kind of sense. Sitrep podcast. Potty mouth. Oh no, what did I say? Oh no. Oh, when my helicopter got shot down. Hey, I get to swear when my hind gets blown out of the sky. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Sitrep podcast. No, seriously, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Dennis Cross says a helo goes boom. Yes, indeed it does. I bet Bill just felt a disturbance in the force. No, because it was a Russian helicopter. So if it was a disturbance in the force, it was a happy disturbance, if you get my drift. But in all seriousness, it shook me to the core. Oh no, it's all good. Hind versus Hind, that's awesome. Springtime says we're going to need bigger kittens. Okay, things are getting very serious in the extreme southeast of the board here. Everywhere else, I'm kind of getting tooled up. So far, I do have one objective hex taken. All right, so that is going to finally conclude my turn. All right, over to you for Ukrainian turn 3.
Okay, so artillery landing.
So next turn you're going to be reloading, so there's no really need to call in artillery. Cool. Yeah, artillery landing.
The 2 units that stayed in Overwatch on the edge of the wood. Hex 2914.
Oh no! Okay, so I got a grand total of 28, both grad batteries, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Alright, cool. So, for people in the chat, both sides, again, make liberal use of the BM-21 grad. It's kind of, like the Huey is to Vietnam, or like the Panther and Tiger are to the Eastern Front. The Sherman is to the Western Front. The BM-21 grad is almost like the weapon of the Ukraine war. It's been used everywhere. It's been on almost every continent on Earth, but it's become particularly infamous in the Ukraine. It's being used by both sides. So we got 28 and 28. That becomes 56. Divide back down to 28 because of you're firing on armored targets. However, the 28 attacks everything individually and equally. So 28 versus 8 is 3 to 1. It's going to be 2 3 to 1s. Add 1 to the die roll to both rolls because both rolls are both tanks are in woods. So just declare which one, because we have 2 different vehicle types in there, but they both have the same defense.
BTR is a 6. So
BTR 6 becomes a 7. At 3 to 1, I don't think that does anything. It may disperse. 7 on 3 to 1 does nothing. Cool.
Okay. And against the BIMP. That's better.
Oh no, that's a kill. The Russians are doing well. They're just taking too many losses. Too many losses. Then again, I have 1 objective hex, and I'm about to take at least 1 more. I got some bad news. All right. Cool. So that's that.
Right. So the drones are gone. So direct fire.
Yes. A dead hind is a good hind. There are hinds on both sides of this table, Sitrep podcast. Both sides still use the hind Mi-24E. Sorry, Mi-24V Victor, which for some reason becomes the hind E variant. That seems to be the most common helicopter in both sides' ground forces. So that's one of the few parts of the game that's an even matchup.
How effective are the rockets on the hind against a tank?
Oh, they're a 30 H-class weapon. So H, it depends on how close you are, is the short answer.
2 hexes.
It's a straight-out H with no parentheses. Versus armored targets, it is a normal attack at 1 to 2 hexes.
So against one of the T-72s, the hind will use his rocket pods. He's got no anti-tank missiles left, has he?
Yeah,
he only gets one shot with.
He used them as AT-6s against my T-90s. AT-6 spirals. So we have now just the regular ripple fire rockets against close range against my T-72. These are the very upgraded T-72s. Now those are rockets, and I do have reactive armor, so you will be adding 1 to your roll. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh yeah, it's fine. In fact, it saves them. It saves their life. So cancel this if you want to. But you're going to have 30 points against 20. And you have to add 1 to the roll. That's the asterisk after the 20. So you're looking at a grand total of 1 to 1 odds. You have to add 1 to the die roll. You cannot kill. You can only disperse. And it's even that's a 50-50.
I can't. Have I got range to hit the anti-aircraft unit from there? I haven't, have I?
You know what I never did? Oh yeah, range. If you use the 30, the problem is I don't think you have you don't have them spotted. They haven't fired yet, and they're still in the woods.
Yep.
Range isn't the
I'm
issue.
droneless now,
Terrain,
so
yeah.
Yep.
Hey Bill, I shot down all his drones. Actually, I blew up the headquarters, and the laptop that was controlling the drones is what really happened.
Another line of sight to any other target, have they?
Unless you want to spend it on the well, you're at low altitude, so yeah, you have no line of sight on the BTR.
Oh yeah, because it's hidden. But it's rockets against the T-72 or
some of these guys up here. This guy is fired at you, so he's spotted. That other BTR-80. BTR-82, get the right name. These guys are in the open. He has a few choices. He wants to blow up more guys in tracksuits and ski masks. He can do that. That's kind of a waste, though. And he doesn't have to use
the infantry in the open.
He can use his regular 16 chain guns. That's unlimited. But his 30-point rocket strike, he gets 1 more of those. Or 1 of those only. Excuse me.
Can I hit the infantry with the rockets from there?
Yeah, the rockets have a range of 20. 30 H20. So they're in the open. That would be 30 points. Now it's H without parentheses, so it doesn't multiply like indirect fire does. It doesn't saturate. So you would engage basically the 7 at 4 to 1, the 6 at 5 to 1, or both at 2 to 1. That would be your choice. You're talking about Hex 3014, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go against the heavy weapons team.
Heavy weapons team. Okay, so you're launching your 30-point rocket strike versus 6. That's 5 to 1 odds. 30 divided by 6 is a nice even 5. Boom!
2.
More destroyed Russians. Oh my god. Why? We're just trying to reunite Stalin's empire. There's no reason to get fresh about it. I shouldn't joke about this. Alrighty.
Any other direct fire?
Let me zoom out so you
now
can
the stuff in the centre town is out of sight at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, because it stopped moving. And it never spent a quarter in your line of sight, so it was never really eligible for opportunity fire. Everything there is now out of sight. And oh, I'm so glad those drones are gone. Damn those drones.
Yep. That's a big part of the battle plan gone. Might have been worth having the HQ in the centre, but, you know, over and done now. Right, I don't think I've got any other shooting to do then.
Cool. We go to your movement, and here's where we have some good news. Remember, we're in the movement phase of turn 3. Reinforcements have arrived.
Mm-hmm.
A company of T-80 UDs. So they can enter from any... oh my god. Going crazy with the map here. They can enter from any table edge except the north edge.
How cheesy would it be to bring them in from the south edge straight into the HQ objective?
Oh, people have been screaming in the
2
radio.
of them anyway.
People have been screaming into the radio. So, yeah, now's the time. So they've been screaming into the radio. That's the whole narrative of the battle. Is you were a mechanized infantry battalion minus up against it, trying to hold these roads that lead to Advika and then lead to Donetsk International Airport and Donetsk itself, linking up with the separatists that control that region. And you've been desperately, screaming out, we're under attack by Russian armor, and Brigade HQ has sent you, which, yes, 93rd, I've verified this, 93rd Mechanized Brigade does have a T-80 company attached to it. So they sent you that T-80 company, and they're hearing on the radio where the action is. They can enter from, again, anywhere. Long story short, take your 19th, 100th shot. It's not cheesy. These guys have been on the radio as they've been driving up the road, listening to what's happening. They know where the crisis point is.
From the south and reoccupy the objective hex. 2 of them can anyway, can't they?
Yes, because of a rec counter.
The rec counter. Yep. And the third one will... He'll come in from, the unoccupied center objective hex.
Oops.
In the center of the screen. He's going to come in there and go north into the woods with the BMP that's overwatching
very easy
main road.
These T-80s, these are the channel dash tanks. They have a movement rate of 14. They're faster than Abrams nowadays. And he's on a highway and a road the whole time. He's there with no problem. He makes that move without popping it out of first gear. Movement point wise.
And then
now, my only question is, does he expose himself to opportunity fire? I don't think so, because he's going so fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because now he's in off-road in woods. When did line of sight for me begin? Began there in 2118. Visible 2, 3, 4. 4 hexes at the road rate, so you were only spent 2 movement points in my line of sight. Short answer, no. Here, you disappear out of my line of sight because of Woods Hex 2214, sorry. And then you occupy this hex, you're in my line of sight for 2 more movement points. So I saw you for 2 movement points here. I saw you for 2 movement points here. However, that was broken momentarily. I do not get opportunity fire. That was a complicated line of sight question, but actually no. I did not. It has to be continuous. You have to continuously spend a quarter of your movement rate in the line of sight, not line of fire, line of sight of the target. I'm sorry, of the unit intending to take opportunity fire. So in 2215, because of the woods that are in 2214, I technically lose sight of you for just long enough for you to occupy that hex without a problem. Otherwise, that T-90 would totally pimp slap you. That's a 125 millimeter main gun at 5 hexes away. Yeah.
Yep.
Kinetic round, so ERA armor bonus does not apply. Oof. Yeah.
The Javelin unit will mount up into the BMP.
Oh, yep.
And that will head due east.
American supply javelins. Okay, so he just bolts east across that open field.
Yep, and going for the hex, the forest hex next to east of the grads. if you
All
can
right.
get there.
That's his because he spent half of his movement rate loading.
All right. Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He can get that far, which is far enough. It gets him out of line of sight of all this stuff because of these woods.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't think there's anything else. They're overwatching that. Actually, that BMP will be in line of sight of them. They will shoot him. Goes out if he moves. The tanks will go. Have a party on his ass. No, that'll do for movement. Thank you.
Cool. I don't think there are any rallies. I don't think there are any cat attacks. That closes Mr. Turn. Okay, over to Russian turn 4. Game's going to pick up pace a little bit now, folks, finally. So game turn number 4. Cool. I'm not calling in any... actually, now I do have to call in artillery. Because next turn I'm going to get a chance to fire again. Alright, cool. So... my artillery is called in. No artillery landing this turn. My Grods are reloading from before. We go straight to direct fire. Oh, hell yeah. There's some direct fire. Holy dog shit, man. Those T-80s, I mean, they arrived valiantly, but they walked into a hell of a meat grinder. Yeah, here we go. I cannot fire the AT-5s, or the AT-10s technically, out of my BMP-3s. They are within the minimum range. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire the regular guns. That's the 100mm guns and the 30mm automatic cannons, plus a full company of T-72s at point blank range. So all those 36s double to 76 times 72 times 3, 200 and something points. 72 plus 72 plus 72 plus 30 plus 30, 276 points. 276 points divided by, divided by 24, and 24, that's 48 divided by another 5. 48 and 5 is 53. Divided by 53 is 5 to 1 odds. I have to add 1 to the die roll. You could survive this. It is possible, just not likely. The way I roll, a 4 becomes a 5 on the 5 to 1 table. Those are 2 wrecked T-80 platoons.
But you can't occupy the hex now, can you?
I can only occupy it with 1 unit. Wreck counters never completely close a hex. However, I can only occupy it with 1 unit.
Cool.
Now, that concludes that part of direct fire. Direct fire, direct fire, direct fire. I will try to rally my Hinds while we're here on this part of the turn, or this part of the map. 2, my Hinds rally. And yes, Hinds plural. Each one of those is actually probably 2 Hinds, a flight of Hinds, or a pair of Hinds. Not spotted because they haven't fired at me yet, so I can't shoot at them. .30 Sam strike against this guy over here. So 1-to-1 against one of these Hinds. That is the SA-9 Verba firing out of that tree line. Off it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. It's a sloppy 1-to-1. 30 divided by 18. No other bonuses or modifiers. 1 kills, 2, 3, or 4 disperses. Dispersed. So one Hind flight is pinned down, confused. Again, we say dispersed and pinned down with helicopters. That's kind of a weird term, but everyone gets the idea. Okay, and now those guys are definitely spotted. They saw that. All right. Other direct fire. I don't really have any. Move him so this guy can safely... Nope. 1 point of movement, and then half movement point to dismounts. Infantry spandrels. The T-80 commander just noticed that. Word to the wise. So this guy's not going to move. This guy's going to dismount. Oh, I guess I should say I'm now done with my movement phase. Or my fire phase. I know these guys are kind of doing a great patriotic charge across this open field. So they're going to spread out at least a little. This BTR commander's like, we got you covered, man. Don't worry about it. Actually, what's making them brave is all this Russian armor piled up down here. Otherwise, this move would be like, seriously, what do you think you're doing? Waterloo reenactment here with all this automatic weapons fire here in the south? This is not something you do on a potential World War III battlefield, but I might get away with it. Cool. That will conclude my turn, except for a little bit of movement down here. Oh god. Separatists, get in there. You have been Moscow's disposable puppets since the beginning. We are not going to stop now. Get your ass in there. I can only move one unit in there because of stacking limitations and rec counters. But he's going in there and he's occupying those concrete buildings. I now have 2 of 3 objective hexes. 1 hex away from victory. That concludes Russian turn. Over to Ukrainian turn 4.
So there's no artillery reloading this turn, isn't it?
You're on a different cycle than me. I'm basically landing on odd number turns. You're landing on even number turns, right? Because you can't.
I landed last turn, didn't I? Killed the
BMP. Reverse. Okay, cool. Yeah, I reloaded on turn 4. I impact on turn 5. That's right. Your first mission canceled because you almost called in a grad strike on yourself. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. So I can plot another one, can't I?
So you're reloading this turn? Nothing's landing this turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I'm reloading.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, you have something ready to land on turn 5. Now would be the time when you called it in.
Mm-hmm.
While you're doing that, I'll zoom out the chart so you can see the whole map. I will answer a comment in this stream. So Springtime says, remember multiple articles by the aviationists about USAF RQ-4 Global Hawks flying over Ukraine beginning in at least 2014. At least 2016 they've been flying with transponders on all I can see. Okay, on transponders on all can see. Okay. I included drones in this scenario only for the Ukrainians. I know, of course, the Russians have drones as well, but I tried to, just make the game a little interesting. I don't want to make it too equal. In the Ukraine, what makes the game kind of boring from a design perspective is both sides are using so much of the same equipment. Not entirely, but a great deal. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit. And it's a bit in the news a little bit. The Americans are supplying javelins to the Ukrainians in limited numbers, and both the Americans and the Turks, of all people, are supplying drones to the Ukrainians, and also helping get their troops trained in their use. So again, to kind of make the video topical, at least to a certain extent, I definitely wanted to include those two. I didn't give them to the Russians because, again, what's in the news are the Ukrainian drones, and again, if you make the two samey on both sides, it becomes very much like a chess game, black versus white. The two armies I'm trying to give at least a little bit of their own flavor to. What's the deal about that? With only about 30 Su-27s and 30 MiG-29s, how would U.S. or NATO go about Operation Nickelgrass? Deliver weapons and supplies via air, as a C option maybe is a no-go. Springtime, you're talking about the Ukrainian Air Force. Those numbers might be a little optimistic, especially with the Air Force. Now, I mean, I'm not contesting you, so correct me if I'm wrong. Especially with the Air Force. What the Ukrainian Air Force has on the tarmac and what they have in the air are two very different things. Point in fact, I was trying to figure out how many Mi-24s I should include, how many Hinds. The Ukrainian fleet, last I looked up, 133 Hinds in their fleet. In 2014, 15 of them were actually airworthy. 133, 15 could actually fly. 6 of those were shot down. They're trying to get 6 more refurbished by the end of 2021. They've had 7 years to get that fleet back up on its feet. They haven't done it. And that's another whole soapbox I don't want to get onto right now. Where Ukraine is actually spending its money, and as opposed to just petitioning for NATO membership and hoping Article 5 protects them. I'm starting to get a lot of South Vietnam parallels here. It's making me kind of nervous. I'm very much impartial as best I can. I try to be on the Ukrainian side as best I can until you start talking about American involvement. Then I'm starting to get a little squirrely because I'm seeing a lot of Saigon in Kiev. Not to put too fine a point on it. And again, where has all this money been going? Why are there American-supplied Humvees riding around with the separatist forces? Who sold them there? Hold on here, let me check my data. Why are 50 T-64 BVs, those are the most advanced T-64 upgrades, why are 50 of those sold to Democratic Republic of Congo when you could have been using them here on the eastern Ukrainian battlefields? Kiev, you have to explain that to me. The best tank Ukraine makes, the ones that Damon doesn't get to use in this game, the T-84 Oplot Ms. The Ukrainian army has a grand total of 10 of those. They've been in service since 2000. You built 10 tanks since 2000? No, they built 45 more and sold them to the Royal Thai Army. They're in Thailand, fighting nobody. Sudanese rebels have 32 T-72s, 15 automatic grenade launchers, and at least 6 self-propelled anti-aircraft systems. Sudanese rebels, Darfur. So basically genocidal terrorists. They have a full battalion of Ukrainian armor, while their actual troops that are trying to fight the Russians are running Kickstarters so they can buy belt buckles and shoes and socks and boots. Again, and now they want American help, and more importantly, American tax dollars. I don't know. It's starting to bug me a little. Anyway, I promised I wouldn't get on that soapbox, and I got on that soapbox again. Sorry about that. So I interrupted you, Damon. I apologize. Did you call in your new artillery for next turn? I think he has himself muted again.
Yep. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm plotted.
All right, cool. Jose says you can't beat the psychological impact of losing aircraft. This is true, and in fact, in Battle Group, where you draw a BRC, a battle rating counter, for every time you lose a unit, when you lose an aircraft in Battle Group, different game, but just to kind of, I get your point, and games do reflect that. You have to draw 2 battle rating counters for a lost aircraft. Again, psychological impact of losing an aircraft, certainly. Ukraine has Turkish-made UCAVs. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Turkey has totally supplied drones to the Ukrainians. Absolutely. That's part of the reason I wanted to put drones in here. Americans and Turkey have definitely been supplying drones. So far, I've kept them unarmed, mostly because I don't have enough information if that's actually armed drones that they supplied. And number 2, this is the first time I've ever used drones in a Panzerleader game. So again, I try to ease my way into new rules and house rules without breaking anything. These drones, I think, Damon, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the drones really worked well in this game as a rules mechanic.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
They were powerful, but not overpowered. I definitely wanted to take them out as soon as I could. So yeah, with a successful playtest on that, we could always try armed drones in a future game if we wanted to. Start launching hellfires at people off these things. Okay, so let's go.
Now I know how vulnerable the HQ is. The HQ will definitely be in a more secure location next game.
Well, yeah. Now, I actually make them triple power. In Panzerleader, like published Panzerleader, CPs have a defense factor of 1. I give them at least a 3. What made them vulnerable is those separatist rebels. So separatist rebels have been listening to you on the radio. They have radio tracking equipment. They kind of have you triangulated, and they kind of bum rush you out of that southeast corner. And then that, plus these Russian tanks that just rush down way too fast. is what did them in. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I don't think you made a tactical mistake. I'm not entirely sure where they would have been safe anywhere. But I don't know. Maybe covered by more anti-tank missiles, more of those BMPs. That way the Russians would at least take more of a lump, coming in. Your defense was really solid in the center. My T-90s are basically wiped out. That's my most powerful unit. I have one platoon left out of my initial company. But my T-72s are doing... They're doing a man's job down here in the southeast. All right, so over to your direct fire phase.
Have I got a bit of movement to finish?
Direct fire usually happens first.
Oh yeah, 5. Yeah, ignore me. Yep, hang on. Okay, so we've got that landing there. Plotted for there. Direct shooting. We've got a BMP that can fire its missile at the tanks. In fact, we've got 2.
Totally. Oh god. Yeah, this is gonna get nasty. I've got at least
BMP one here, and one to the west on the edge of the woods here.
Definitely this first one. Let me check line of sight on that second one. I think you're right.
Oh no, it's crossing a... Is it crossing a text?
Nope. He's got... He's
yeah,
good
it's not
to go.
In the centre, yep. Okay, so that'll be 2...
Oh yeah, I have a pretty inaccurate line there. So center of the hex to center of my hex. If I make if I make the line thin, the line's too thick right now. Center of your hex. You're talking about this BMP here, right?
Yeah. I'll just the
center of my hex that barely clears. Oh yeah. There's no woods hex over the center dot. That's technically not a woods hex. Yeah. Sorry, what you do about nothing. You totally have line of sight. You are totally correct. Now that's going to be his only. They each get one of those. Okay.
Yep. So that'll be 2 missiles into there.
Oh no. Okay, we're talking about AT-5 Spandrels, everybody. That is 240 Gs. So you got a grand total of 80 points from missiles so far.
And might as well use whatever
I'm finally about to lose some of my T-72s.
BTR's got an autocannon, hasn't it?
Yep, and he is within 2 hexes, so he doubles. He is an A-class weapon. He doubles to 16.
The infantry, how far can they fire anti-tank? Light anti-tank? Is it 1 or 2?
Which light anti-tank? You talking about the heavy weapons platoon?
The infantry and that. Yeah, have they got any anti-tank capability?
It's an H-class weapon. He's within 2 hexes, so his 8 does not divide. It stays at 8. So he's got AGS-17 grenade launchers, automatic grenade launchers, machine gun grenade launchers. Maybe some AT-4s from the Marine Corps, who knows what. Basically, his 8 stays as an 8. So you've got 80 plus 16 plus 8 so far.
That's about it total-wise, isn't it? I don't think anything else. Oh, the Hind.
The undispersed Hind can throw in his 30 points of rockets. Again, because he's within 2 hexes, and it's a H, straight H, it does not divide or double. It stays at 30. Divided by, or plus 30. 136 points!
Yep, let's do that.
All right, now, the next question. Here's the important one. How many platoons of T-72s are you engaging?
What's the odds then if I do 2?
2 is 40 divided into 136. That looks like 3 to 1 to me. So 1, 2, or 3 is a kill. Again, the odds number, whatever, like 1 to 3 odds, or 3 to 1 odds, it's a 3 to kill.
And then that'll be 2 dispersed if I don't kill. Okay, I'll go for the 3 to 1 shot.
Okay, so 3 to 1. You automatically disperse them because they have no terrain bonuses. They're just sitting out there in the open in that cornfield there. And a 1, 2, or a 3 will kill 2 platoons. Cool, go for it.
Oh yes.
Oh no! 2 burning platoons of T-72s. Damn you! I thought I was gonna win this game. Now, that was one of his last big swings. He's lost his drones. He's used up most of his missiles. He's got some javelins left, but that's about all he's got. He's now used up pretty much all the, not all, but almost all the ordnance on his, oh no, I screwed that up. Almost all the ordnance on his helicopters. He's lost 2 of his 3 T-80 platoons. This one's going to be close. I'm happy with the scenario so far. So the only BMP that still has missiles is going to be this one over here, just for future reference.
And the one in the north.
You got 4 BMPs? Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a BTR. Where? Oh, this guy up here. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I forgot you had 4, not 3. So go ahead. I'm just gonna slightly change the color on these two. Don't let me stop you.
Okay. I think that's everything for shooting, because all that other stuff in the town's out of sight now, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure. Well, no, you can shoot into that occupied hex that the separatists have. Oh wait, you fired all those units. The unit to the south can fire if he wants. I don't know if he's going to do any good.
It's worth a shot, isn't it? Might disperse them.
Give me 2 seconds here. All right, so those slightly discolored BMPs are the ones that have used up their missiles. Just so we keep track. It is 8 versus my 10. It's 1 to 2. You have to add 1 to the die roll. You might disperse them.
4.
4 becomes a 5, no effect.
Shooting is all shooting. Okay, I think I've shot the bolt on that lot.
Okay, then it's time to rally your hinds on a 1 through a 4 to complete your direct fire phase. He totally rallies. Okay, and one hind is now dry, is now bingo ordnance. The other hind has his rockets left, but not his missiles.
Oh, your hind, is it at altitude or ground level?
Yes, it's at altitude. I had to fly over those trees, and it's still hovering at the top of the hex.
Can I shoot my missile isle at him?
Yep, that's going to be a 1-to-1 odds.
5.
That's a miss. And now you're spotted. I saw that. Oh, yes, I did. Fortunately for you, or maybe you planned it this way, none of my ground units can see you. You're protected by this... Barely. You're protected by that tree line. 1715 gives you partial screening to the front.
Right, so movement. Can't go there. The BMP carrying the javelins.
Yep.
We'll move into hex 12, 16. And debus if they've got enough movement left.
Where the hell is 1216? 1216.
Yeah. Sorry, 17.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
17, 16. Sorry.
Yeah. 1.
Just north of the grads in the wood.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By using the road partially, he gets there. He's used up less than half of his movement. That allows him to unload the javelin section. Cool. Other movement?
Don't think there's anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He could get there, but he'd have to do it all in the line of sight of them. That's all right. The helicopters. Is it worth moving the helicopters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The outside of them, the outside of them. The helicopters are going to fly nap of Earth west towards the unmanned objective.
Okay.
I believe I'm going to be moving in line of sight.
One. Okay, you have to fly again. If you're that Nap of Earth, you have to. You're kind of basically all road movement. I'm sorry, Nap of Earth, all ground movement rules apply, even though you're a helicopter. One, so you can't move through enemy occupied hexes. 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm debating opportunity fire. Cause you're like literally swanning like right between a bunch of guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think that was. Cool. So you want to go on the hex or like somewhere around it, or up to you, obviously.
If I sit behind the woods at 1720, if I can get that far.
Oh yeah, you have a movement rate of 30.
Oh right, yeah.
1730, 1720.
1720.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, that's the one.
Cool.
Yep. I think that's everything. That other stuff there is going to try and stop if you rush down the road. Try and do some damage there. He can fire that, but not with that. There's that unit left on that objective. You could still rush that down the road if I leave that objective. So, yeah, I think that'll have to do for now.
Alrighty. No cats. So... Cats. I keep saying that phrase, guys. Close assault tactics. It's a Panzer Leader role. Cool. That's going to go to turn 5. Okay. Over to me. First, I'm going to not bother to plot any artillery, because my artillery is going to be reloading next turn. This turn, it's landing. Okay, I kind of split up my batteries a little bit. One of them, I pretty much did the same thing you did. I called it artillery on myself. Of course, I did not know. I probably shouldn't have. I had to occupy it, or else you might have reoccupied it. So one grad battery is landing on 3020. The other grad battery is landing on 2919. So I'm going to try to cancel the one on 3020. Basically, I'm hoping to fail a scatter diagram, a scatter roll, a Panzer Leader scatter roll. 6. We both got lucky. We both did not call in grads on ourselves. Okay. The other one is landing here, so that's going to be a grand total of 28 points. Oh boy. It hits everything in the hex, although it is going to be very, very different results. So, 28 points versus 6. 4-to-1 odds, add 1 to the die roll. Oops, get in the box, fool. 3, splat, he's dead. 28 points divided by 2 because of armor targets becomes 14 versus 6. 2-to-1, add 1 to the die roll. It becomes a 4 on 2-to-1, that's only dispersed. Okay, last one, same deal. Same result. And that's it for my grads. Okay, we now go to direct fire. Hein is going to go ahead and use up his AT5 spandrel, or AT6 spiral, I should say. That's going to exhaust his ordnance, because he already fired his rockets. T-72 is going to fire. we're basically going to try and take out these two these anti-tank units. This guy's going to go ahead and kick off. So we're looking at 8 plus 72 plus 40. Eight plus 72 plus 40, 120 divided by 12. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, that's it. And we're already dispersed. I have to add one to the die roll, but it doesn't matter. I'm at 10 to 1, and I get to subtract 1 from the die roll because of dispersed units. A double D kills. I think that's going to be it for direct fire. I don't have these guys spotted yet. We have a bit of a Mexican standoff going here.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be the first one to pop their heads out of cover. Okay. Let's go to my movement phase. That's it. I can't move anything else in there because there's too many rec counters in the hex. Bring 2 front. Okay, that technically gives me victory. Although you, of course, depending on how long you wanted to play, we could. I can't move anything else in there. You have the opportunity to try and retake it if you wanted. The game doesn't just, crash to a halt because I took the last hex. Get back down to low altitude, you fool. Again, helicopters can change their altitude at the beginning of a turn.
Does your T-72 count as spotted because it's adjacent to one of mine?
Yes.
Can my javelin have a go at him?
I haven't spent a quarter of my movement rate, but you can fire at him in your turn.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Opportunity fire, no, because I haven't spent a quarter of my movement. I moved like a total of 2 hexes. Damn, that last T-80 platoon up there in 22-14. He's pissing me off, man. Alright, other movement. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Never spent a quarter of my movement. I'm being a little cagey here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, stop right now. Alright, and what else is going on here? Where do those hinds run away to? Remount. Change picture, bring to front. And now I have 10 movement points. 1. Whoa! 1. He was about to come cruising down this road. I'm like, hey, you remember these assholes down here, right? I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Lateral redeployment, careful. Alright, so I got 10 movement points left. 1, 2, 3. Enter the gully. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Move them. This guy's going to go ahead and move half his movement rate. 1, 2, 3 to come out of the gully. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to be it for my movement. Are you declaring any opportunity fire from that BTR-80 section in the south before they get cat-attacked by separatist rebels? You are in concrete buildings, so... And they're only separatist rebels. I mean...
Yeah, might as well.
Alright, cool. So that's going to be 8 versus whoever you want to engage. Probably this guy at 2 to 1 would be your best, the best bang for your buck.
6.
6 at 2 to 1. I don't think that's anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he got away with that. Cool. Now we launch our cat attack. That's a total of 9 points versus your 11. You get to add 5 because you're in concrete buildings. So 6 plus 5 is 11. 1 to 2. Oh, 8. Oh, frig. All right, this is going to get complicated, guys. Because we have a mix of L class and I class units in there. 3 plus 2 plus 12. Cat attacks I class triples against armored targets. However, L's don't get that. They have literally Molotov cocktails and sticky bombs. We said sticky bombs as a joke before. They literally have sticky bombs. These guys have anti-tank grenades, light RPGs, all kinds of stuff like that. So 3 plus 2 plus 12 is 17 versus your 11. 1 to 1, subtract 1 from the die roll. Net. -2 for cat attack plus 1 for towns. So 1 to 1, subtract 1. Wrong button. A 2 becomes a 1. God damn. Russians are on fire today, Damon. I do semi-apologize. All their bad luck from last week's stream is kind of coming back the other way. Okay, and yeah, I had a 6. You had a 6. I had a 2. There's no arguing with that. That's going to conclude my turn. Over to you for turn 5. Check Mr. Chat. Okay, so springtime. You're talking about tango. I'm sorry, Damon. Are you going to plot artillery or?
I've got a round landing. Yeah.
Oh, so next turn you don't have to plot because you're going to be reloading. This turn.
Yep.
You're going to have artillery actually impacting. Cool. Where's it impacting?
Yep. The unit that's got the militia, the objective X that's got the militia in it.
Okay, you've got nobody spotting that, so it's gonna potentially drift. No, it can still land. It's gonna basically use the same drift rules in Panzer Leader. A 1 or a 2, it lands as intended. 3, 4, or 5, it drifts by 1 hex, in case it's gonna hit some of my guys anyway, probably.
Okay.
And then a 6, it dissipates.
Okay. 2.
Cool. It landed where it intended. Right before that guy went off the air, he called in that last correction, and in it comes. So that is both batteries.
Both, yep.
So 56 versus 5 plus 5, because I have towns, still gives you a 5 to 1. 5 to 1, add 1 to the result. That's like the one roll you didn't need. 5 becomes a 6 becomes a 7. He is dispersed. What am I doing?
Cannon blast.
Why did I put a Russian rec counter in there? That's a Ukrainian rec counter. Okay, let me check out Mr. Chat here. Russian dice are bloodthirsty. Indeed, they are. Ukrainian luck had better change. That's just true. Walkabout games. Walkabout games. Skip the first 20 minutes where I talk about all the usual background and history or whatever. Check out last week's stream. You will see the Ukrainian dice on fire, and you will see the Russians roll nothing but crappy bricks, man. 6, 6, 6, 5, 6. Those are the worst rolls in Panzer Leader, by the way. The Russians could not roll to save their ass last week. So springtime, you're talking about Tango Bravo 2 drones are armed with up to 4. They are starting to arm their drones. Okay, yeah, I did not see, number 1, see any data on that, and number 2, I didn't want to overstretch my new rule on drones yet, so no worries there. Although, cool, it's interesting to see that they are starting to arm their drones. Probably not much different. There have been rumors that the Ukraine are armed and they are being shot down. Well, yeah, drones are friggin' dangerous, man. And we need bigger kittens. I'm not, what are we talking about there? I'm not getting, there's a reference I'm not getting. I'm talking about cat attacks. It's got nothing to do with cat attacks, does it? Stands for close assault tactics. You're not talking about kittens like German tanks in World War II? No? I'm sure there's something I'm missing there. I do confess I don't know what's going on. So Walkabout Games is on his lunch. I thought I'd check out the game. Cool. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming out, Walkabout Games. Yes, Ukrainian dice, the luck needs to change. Russian dice are bloodthirsty for sure. Working on some schoolwork. Is Jim still getting his butt kicked? Says Because Science Teacher. No, actually. I'm actually going to win this game, I think. For a damn change. It's the first game I've won in a while. But I haven't won yet. Right now I have 3 of 5 objective hexes. And things are looking okay. I have paid a hideous price. I've lost a Hind. I've lost 2 out of my 3 T-72 platoons, 2 out of 3 of my T-90 platoons. My infantry have been splattered all over the place. I've done a hell of a lot of damage on a lot of his tanks and BMPs, and I own 3 objective hexes. So, yeah, this one's not decided yet. Okay, so we've done your artillery fire. Over to your direct fire, Mr. Damon.
Okay. I can't see the T-72 now, can I? Because my adjacent unit's dead.
Yeah, but yeah, and I did not fire. This is true.
I've lost line of sight on him. The unit in the woods are out of sight now, aren't they? Those BTRs that scuttled off through the woods.
Yep.
So I don't think I've got eyeballs on anything apart from the Hinds.
Oh, these guys over here.
Open.
Yeah, so they moved in such a way where they never spent a quarter of their movement rate in your line of sight, and once they stop moving, they get benefit of the terrain hex, and that means that they're invisible.
Yep.
Now that those drones are knocked down, goddamn, I hated those drones, man. They would not have tried that shit if there were still drones in the air. Those drones are a game changer, man. I'm actually really happy about the way those rules worked out.
Gives it a much more modern feel, much more digital battlefield.
Yeah, I would. With those, with that cheeky move that those BTRs, they would never do that if there were still drones up. Because you would get to roll, you would probably spot them, and then they are deader than fried chicken. BTRs and BMPs right on their flank like that, less than 1,000 yards off to the east. That, yeah. Good night, sweet prince.
Let's see. What's the range on the Hinds cannons again, please, Jim?
Where are the Hinds? It's printed on the counter 8. 30 millimeter guns.
Way out of range.
Yeah. Again, they're like 30 millimeter cannon, and we're talking about 250 meter hexes.
Yep. I don't think I can shoot at anything. I'm pretty sure I can't.
Yeah, that was kind of my dastardly plan. I own 3 objective hexes now, so the Russians have suddenly shifted from offense to defense. You got to come at me now, bro.
Yep. And I fired my artillery, haven't I? And I just disordered that unit. Yep. That was my last swing, really. Because I actually can't see anything. Well, I can plot artillery still, can't on suspected hexes, but that's not going to achieve a great deal. Probably looking at.
Well, you don't have to plot anything yet.
Withdrawing.
Yeah, you don't have to plot anything yet because your grounds are still going to be reloading.
I've got to reload. Yeah.
Yeah, but next turn you're going to want to plot, and you can only plot on what you have spotted at the beginning of that turn. Because what some players used to do is they used to call in, like, oh, my Grods, they can't see anything yet, but I'm going to go ahead and call in on this suspected hex, and then later on in that same turn, they move a unit adjacent. Oh, look, he's spotted now. It's like, no, that's the turn sequence is set up in such a way where you have to, there's a reason that different phases are in a certain order. So again, because you can only fire every other turn anyway, there's no worry, don't worry about it yet. But at the beginning of your next turn, you got to call in, if you want to, call in a rocket strike on what you've got spotted at the moment.
Well, I've got 1 tank platoon left, and the javelins, and 1 other anti-tank missile shot.
Yep,
I
and then
don't
you've
think
got,
I've got enough left to mount a counter-attack with.
That's up to you. Yeah, we don't. I mean, God knows we've had a long enough stream. We're up for almost 4 hours now.
Yeah, I don't think I've got enough left that I can make it. You know, it'd be a Hail Mary.
The odds are against it. It's possible. It's possible, especially to the north, but the odds are against it. I'd say you had like a 1 in 4, maybe 1 in 3 chance of stealing back one objective hex. I would not go for either of the 2 hexes in the southeast. You could go for that little crossroads, that little highway cloverleaf up there in the north. Even that's going to be bloody as shit, and maybe 1 chance in 3, probably 1 chance in 4.
Yeah. And if I leave the centre one uncovered, you can just dash out there and grab it with a random vehicle.
This is also true. Yeah. By the time you mounted enough to, in fact, let's go ahead and knock it down to 1 in 5. Yeah. By the time you move north with insufficient strength, you're exposing the one there at 1920.
Yep. I think you've won this one, mate.
Oh my God! Now I know the stream went crazy if I won the game. Cool. I don't know. Do you feel like the Russians were overpowered? Honestly, if I can be honest, I think the way those T-80s came on was a bit of a mistake.
Yeah. I should have used them better.
Those T-80s should have made a bigger splash. Because this one T-80...
Would have been better used for a counter-attack rather than reinforced defeat.
Yeah, or like send in concrete buildings, send infantry in there. Concrete buildings love infantry and vice versa. That's a little love affair in Panzerleader. But if you're just going to move tanks into like point-blank range of enemy armor that's already waiting for you, it's... Yeah.
I should have had more in that main hex where the double objective was to start with. More infantry.
Yeah, it's like the main road that leads south. That's why I put 2 objective hexes there in scenario design. But even with what was going on at the time, let me move back to turn 2. When it first got emptied out, so that was the situation at the end of turn 3. Well, you've only got 1 infantry platoon there. And that's not even a platoon, that's a section. A heavy weapons section. Yeah, 1 or 2 more mech companies there, or mech platoons there would have been nice. Units like that can hold out in there quite a while. What I was half afraid, especially if the only thing that's really going to move them out of there with any kind of quickness is a garage strike, I was half afraid you were going to send at least 1 T-80 platoon, just boom, and just take out these garages. You can enter from anywhere on any of the 3 lower edges of the board. Anything but the northern edge. 1 T-80 platoon up there would have shut down my garages, and once I lose my garages, I largely lose the ability to shift infantry out of fortified building hexes.
Yeah. Didn't occur to me, to be honest. Should have thought of that.
In fact, I was half thinking of leaving at least 1 T-72 back there to kind of... But anyway.
That would have probably telegraphed it to make me think, why is he doing that?
Yeah. Oh, I can probably go back there and take him. Then again, now you come into like this endless trade-off. Well, you know, if I give him that choice, now he's going to send the T-80s back there, which means they're not at the front. And, yeah, who knows?
Mm-hmm. No, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Cool. Well, all right, guys. Let me check the chat here and see how we're doing. What? Jim won? The world is ending. I know, right? Drones were cool. The Hinds are cool. This was a cool-ass scenario. Yeah, I'm starting to think there was 1 or 2 moves that I probably would have done a little differently. Even with that, though, I'm hoping the Russians didn't come off as too overpowered. I think go ahead.
The reality of it, they probably would be. They wouldn't go in half-assed. They'd throw everything in the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah,
if they did want to do it properly.
Springtime was mentioning 180,000 troops currently massed along the border. There's a lot. There's a lot up there.
And if the Ukrainians are in shit order as they appear to be, how much have they actually got that they could put up to the front to actually stop them?
Yeah, the Ukrainians cannot budge the separatists out of there with the limited Russian support that they have now. With a full-on Russian invasion, without massive intervention from the West. Now the good news is
speed bumping at best.
Yeah, the good news is the last, again, April 11th, 2021, and this news is changing on an almost everyday basis. I don't expect this to happen. The official Oriskany prediction at this time is that Putin is going to ratchet up the tensions in the East Ukraine, or in the eastern parts of the Ukraine, Luhansk and Donetsk, at his leisure and at his convenience. The last thing he wants to do is win this war outright. If those two separatist regions, those two separatist oblasts actually do win, separate completely from the Ukraine, and either, again, semi-autonomous republics or join Russia outright, that is going to unite the West against the Russians even more than they already are, and it's going to clear those Article 5 NATO charter roadblocks that are preventing Ukraine from joining NATO. So an outright separatist victory, supported or not supported by a Russian ground invasion, a formal Russian ground invasion. I'm not trying to say that the Russians do not have ground forces already in these two areas. I'm not saying that at all. I think that produces the exact effect that Putin is trying to avoid. He wants this war ongoing. He wants, where are my other ones here? He wants what is that? I can never pronounce that. Transnistria. He wants this region over here by Moldova ongoing. He wants Ossetia ongoing. He wants Georgia, Armenia, Chechnya. He wants these all ongoing. Not Chechnya. Chechnya is more of an internal thing. But all these other former Soviet republics, he wants those territorial wars ongoing. He doesn't want to lose them. He doesn't want to win them. He wants them just ongoing, so it's like pots of water on a stove. He wants those handles on the dial. He can turn up and turn down the heat at his convenience. He does get something out of it. Operationally, they're being very aggressive. Tactically, the Russians are being very aggressive. Strategically, they're on defense. Because NATO's front line used to run through the middle of Germany. Now it runs along the border of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Romania as well has also joined NATO, to my understanding. It's bad news. Bad news for the Russians. And again, I'm not excusing or condoning or defending anything they're doing. I'm just saying, in order to make an accurate prediction, or a semi-accurate or semi-informed prediction about what's going to happen in the Ukraine, what's going to happen in Ukraine in the coming weeks and months, you have to look at it from Putin's perspective. Not because you care about his motivations or whatever, but because he's the one with all the influence, and what happens next is largely going to be up to him. Therefore, you have to look at what he wants. He wants NATO to come no closer to Moscow. We've already moved that blue line closer to Moscow by at least however 600 miles, whatever that is. All of East Germany, what used to be East Germany, all of Poland, the Baltic states, Balkans, all over the place. Now, you have to make sure that Moldova does not join NATO. Georgia does not join NATO. Ukraine, good God, does not join NATO. Again, I'm not trying to interject my personal bias. I'm just saying, from a Russian geostrategic standpoint, that is a disaster. And that is what they are desperately trying to stop. That's why they kind of started this war in the first place. The whole point of this Eastern Ukraine thing is to keep Ukraine as best they can out of the EU and definitely out of NATO. And therefore, they don't really want to lose the war. They don't really want to win. So I don't expect the invasion that we just kind of recreated to happen. But if it did, based on what the armies look like, these are the kind of battles we might see. I'm sorry, Damien, you were going to say something?
No, I was sneezing.
Oh, sorry. Alrighty. So, guys, if there's no other questions in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and close out the stream. Do I see some more comments here? I can't tell. Hold on. So which figure will it be? Oh, I'm on the wrong chat. Oh my God. Sorry. Alright, guys. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and close out the stream. Hey, does anyone know how to do a raid? Holy crap. I wanted to raid Hobby Lodge, but I don't think I know how to do a raid. Oh, well, no worries. Guys, if you're in the chat and you're still awake and you don't mind, check out on Twitch the Hobby Lodge, all one word. That is our friend Martin. I think we met him at the Bolt Action Bootcamp, Damon. He's been doing a lot of streaming lately.
Yep.
Looks like he's painting up some. Ben's in that chat too. Ben Shaw. Yeah, Tough Ears is in there. Janice 1004 is in there. Cool. All right, guys. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and close out the chat before we lose even more likes. Just kidding. But for now, yeah, this is the Sitrep podcast. Damon, dude, thanks very much as always for helping us out with.
I enjoyed it, mate. It was a good game.
Oh, cool. I appreciate it. And yeah, for now we're going to go ahead and close it out. So take care, everybody. Oh, sorry, I do have one thing to talk about. Okay, so I promised I would mention this. So as Bill said in our recent special broadcast yesterday, we are giving away some prizes. So we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. That was a big milestone for us. And the prize is going to be you get to pick if you win the contest, you get to pick between one of three starter sets. That's going to be either the Spectre 2-player miniature starter set, the Victory in the Pacific starter set, or the North Hag starter set. You don't get all three. You get to pick one out of those three. And in addition to that, there's going to be a $50 gift card to spend on miniature supplies and hobby supplies, a Sergeant Sitrep miniature that's been specially made for our podcast, and one of the new T-shirts with our new logo. So keep an eye out for that. I think, Bill, we said that we were going to what's the word? Announce that next Sunday, next Sunday's podcast. Was that correct? What's the name of the channel you want to rate? Sitrep Podcast. It is the Hobby Lodge, all one word. Announce next podcast. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Awesome. Thanks for the what if game today. Jim says, Dennis, no problem. Don't end it yet. Let me set the raid. Okay, no worries. Bill, I'll leave the stream up for just a couple more minutes. Yeah, that'd be neat. I mean, we don't have that many viewers in our Twitch channel. We have quite a few on YouTube, but not a whole lot in Twitch. That's cool. Yeah, but those are the prizes that we are announcing, or those are the prizes that have been announced. The winner of the contest gets announced in the next podcast. All right, guys. So I hope you found the channel, or I hope you found today's podcast or today's stream fun, if not fun, informative. I know it's kind of a contentious subject. I did want to hit this topic just one more time. Again, I made a shit ton of mistakes. Tactical, detailed, game design, scenario design, the map design, a bunch of mistakes in last stream's video. I just wanted to correct it at least once to put out a decent hypothetical conflict Ukraine game out there. Last week's had a lot of problems. And I'm not talking about what people were commenting on. Trust me, if those people that had nasty things to say last week, if they were informed and detailed, and they actually had like detailed tactical information about what's going on over there, they would have had plenty to work with, and I would have had nothing to say. So hopefully the stream was a lot better. The counters definitely look better. They're a lot more accurate. Just the color schemes are better. So I definitely wanted to have at least one more decent Ukraine game. I'm sure next week we're going to go ahead and move off to something else, and hopefully things in the Ukraine are going to calm down a little bit. Again, I don't expect there to be an invasion. I don't expect there to be an open war. On the other side, I don't expect it to go away either. It is a scary, contentious, problematic issue, and that's just the way Putin likes it. And right now, he's holding most of the cards. So that's the rather summary analysis for the moment. Rating with a party of 1. Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Take care, everybody, and have a great weekend. Thanks once again, Damon, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, everybody, and thanks.